This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 2. Brian Hayes, Dave Feschuk of the Toronto Star, and there is my main man, Keegan Matheson, who sent the text earlier this morning. Are we going golf shirts? Are we going jackets?
I had a heart full of hope.
I jammed you up badly, man.
Did.
I had to come in and do some TV.
Guy, right?
Like, I'm a suit guy today, which doesn't mean you have to go suit.
I don't want to be the guy to break it up. And I had to be the suit guy yesterday. I was in pregame with Hedger doing some stuff at the podium here, and postgame, me and Hedger were down at the Dome. So I had to be full suit and tie yesterday. This is a step down.
Okay.
We're doing okay.
It's all good.
Hey.
Looks good, though. Looks good. That's one thing I appreciate about Jonas, because Jonas would never ask that.
Does not make a difference.
He's showing up in a T-shirt. You're in a full suit,
like
tie.
Black tie.
He's just T-shirt guy.
I could be in a tux. Jonas, it makes no difference.
No. He'll be T-shirt in the summer, hoodie in the winter, period.
Yeah. I have a great appreciation for that. And I feel like Jonas, I will text him and get an answer on this. I feel like he probably has not worn a tie.
Ever.
Maybe ever. Like, I don't have a mental image of him wearing a tie. And I know he's done TV
Probably
stuff before. He's got to have. Like, but he's a wedding guy. Like, January wedding, no tie. Definitely summer wedding, no tie. But I would guess it's been a long time since Jonas pulled one out. And if he has a tie, he's got like two shades. Two ties, one option, take it or leave it.
That's who I was a few weeks ago.
See you later.
TSN life with me has really opened up the wardrobe.
Now you're a big shooter.
I was that classic guy that had one wedding suit that kind of fit, and as long as your weddings aren't too tight together and the same people aren't getting married, you're okay. But I've realized that when you're on TV back-to-back days, you can't always be blue. You can't always be black. So it's been a tough one, but it's all right. The wardrobe's expanding.
Well, that's good to hear. And actually, I would challenge that because Jamie Noodles McLennan wears black on black on black almost every time he's on TV. Maybe he'll mix in a gray. Maybe.
Got that cartoon character closet.
Yeah.
You open it.
Like, it is not Noodles in a jacket like you're wearing, like a seersucker jacket, would shock the world.
Wouldn't happen.
It would never happen.
No.
Ever. But I want to see it happen.
Let's make it. Get him a branding deal.
I want to, let's get Noodles decked out.
I love the consistency of Noodles. Like, when he took us through his, Keegan, you weren't here, when he took us through his vacation wardrobe planning. Like, this dude goes on vacation for 14 days. He brings 7 shirts, and they're the same 7 every year.
Yeah.
They go into the closet for vacation. He brings out his vacation shirts, and then he wears them. And he's got one that's the 5-star shirt.
Yeah.
The nicest restaurants they're going to.
That's his go-to.
That's his go-to shirt for the 5-star meal. And it's every year. Like, he doesn't change.
Oh, and they've been tucked away now. Yeah. And they'll come back out next
year.
Next July. It's a beautiful thing.
But, like, you have to respect that. Like,
I do have respect for it. I mean, I'm with you. I think Noodles made the right call. Like, he established this is what's happening. I'm going to wear a black suit, maybe a gray suit, gray shirts, black ties. Like, once you start bringing some color in, then people kind of have an expectation. Like, oh, look at this guy. He thinks he's got style. I have no style. But I get hooked up with great suits, and that's it.
Is a man who stays the same weight year to year. Can't relate.
That is a challenge. It is a challenge.
Noodles must be steady. He's got to be steady on that 171.
Noodles is very steady.
He's a runner, right?
Very steady.
Running.
Yeah, exactly,
Jonas
man.
Is running.
He's got no palate. He doesn't eat anything.
Yeah.
Like, Jonas has been. I've known Jonas for almost 20 years, and he has been he has looked the exact same for 20 years.
No idea.
True.
And he's going to look like that 20 years from now.
You're right.
Like, I'll see him, grab a beer with him when we're 65, and he will look the exact same.
Yeah.
I will be a bloated mess. But it's all good.
Most of us will be. But if you want to kind of take bets on Toronto sports media dude, most likely to get to 100, Jonas is like minus 1,000.
Dude, he's exactly.
Most likely to clear 70 is where we got to start with.
Well, yeah, for most of us. Yeah.
That's a lot of plus numbers on that board.
We're day to day.
Those are some morbid odds, but see if FanDuel can hook us up, dude. If we can, we'll go down the whole list maybe a little bit later this week.
Him and Masters, like they're eating cut up
rabbit food,
carrots,
dude. Rabbit. They're rabbits.
It's the boat to 100.
Yeah.
That's what.
Oh, Jonas 100 in his sleep.
The lock.
And now with like AI and all that, maybe 200, 250, who knows?
I like seeing the Masters bags of granola and stuff he's got on the road.
Oh, yeah.
It's not how I live.
No.
Maybe it should be, but
No.
He'll be covering William Nylander's grandchildren.
I know. He'll be right in the scrum.
Yeah.
Bill Nylander III. He'll be right in there. Anyway, good to see you guys. Are you heading down to the park tonight? Because we got a big one with the Cubs in town again. I mean, that was an impressive outing by Jose Barrios, and I think that's a topic of discussion. Like last time we had you in, we were talking about, the projection of what the staff is going to look like. And at times it feels like you're being a little bit presumptuous or maybe putting the cart before the horse. It's only the middle of August, but they've kept their head above water, right? They lost 2 or 3 in L.A., but they got the win on Sunday. They get a day off yesterday. They come home. They spank the Cubs. Now I feel like they put themselves in a position where certainly going to the playoffs is something that we can talk openly about, right? Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win the AL East. Boston continues to play okay. The Yankees are kind of hit or miss. But what this rotation is going to look like when Bieber gets up here, if Scherzer stays healthy, and where Barrios falls, I find really fascinating because I do kind of feel like he's got to pitch his way back into the top 3 of this staff if he's going to be in contention to do that. Let's say they're in a wild card round, or if they end up in the DS, what's it going to look like those first 3 starts?
that's the big variable right now. There's not a lot of variables on the offense. It is what it is, and it's good. But Barrios right now, if you start the playoffs, is probably my number 4.
Yeah.
And that's still a good thing. He's a guy that's going to help you get to the playoffs, but helping you win in the playoffs is a bit of a different conversation. And that's the entire shift that we're having around the Blue Jays right now. You're not talking about getting invited to the dance as the third wild card, which has never excited me. It doesn't excite me this year. But it's about beating the Dodgers, beating the Brewers, beating the big dogs. And that narrows the conversation to games 1, 2, and 3. Right now, I think that's Shane Bieber and Kevin Gausman 1 and 2, and I think it's Max Scherzer in that third game.
Mm-hmm.
So Bieber's your number 1, even though you haven't seen him play in the majors in a year plus.
I think he's got a damn good shot at it right now, if he looks anywhere close to normal. I think Kevin Gausman can be that as well. We've seen it a couple times lately with Gausman, and then we've seen times where they lay off his splitter, and it's really tough. But Gausman has that ceiling. I don't know if we see that in Barrios right now. And again, I'm being hard on a guy who's one of the most consistent pitchers in Major League Baseball. I'm so impressed by Jose Barrios, but you need someone who can take over a game. Gausman can do that. I think Max Scherzer can still do that once or twice more, maybe at age 41. But Bieber, his last couple of outings were fantastic. He'll pitch again in 2 days in Buffalo. If he can come back normal, 95% of normal, I think he's at least the number 2 here.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't Barrios, though, Keegan, like, the irony is, like, he was essentially lining up to take over a game the last time he pitched in the playoffs in the infamous, pocket
Barrios
protector
Kikuchi
spreadsheet pull of Barrios, right? And so he's got big game kind of in him, I think, and he's shown it. He just didn't get a chance to really play it to its full extent.
That was the best I've ever seen him pitch. And I'll remember for the rest of my life speaking to Barrios in the clubhouse after that game because he is the ultimate pro. He'll never say anything wrong. But he was staring a million miles into the distance over my shoulder and trying to say the right things, but you could tell that he had just imploded after being brought out of that game. The best I've ever seen him pitch because there was a little edge to it. Like there was a little spice to how he was pitching that day. It's his old team.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can still remember seeing Yusei Kikuchi running the door and grabbing the arm of the guy next to me saying, what the is happening?
Mm-hmm.
It's that game. If you're Barrios, no one needs motivation in the playoffs. That's a silly narrative. No one would be more motivated than Barrios if he gets a game 4. And I don't think you're going to be trying to bring guys back too quickly. There's still a game 4 space for someone at the ALCS. And I think that is Barrios probably at this point. We haven't seen that upside of him. Even yesterday, it's a great outing. You're putting up a 0 in the runs, but you walk 4, you strike out 3. You're needing to make big pitches in big spots, which the pessimist in me and the playoff-minded person in me says you're 1 pitch away from it being much different. So interesting couple months coming up for him.
Yeah, I feel like there is a very good chance if and when he starts a playoff game that he's going to be in a similar position to the one he was in Minnesota a couple years ago, where I think John Schneider, Pete Walker, Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro, who we all know have a say in what's going to happen come playoff time, and I think basically on a daily basis around here. The rope will be short, Like the rope will be short, and there's a chance they give him the 2 times through the rotation, and then the next guy's coming out. Now, I don't know who that would necessarily be because Kikuchi's not here, and that was a righty going to a lefty, and it kind of made some sense before the game on a stat sheet, but it obviously didn't once the game played out. But it does say something about what we're going to be talking about over the next 6 to 7 weeks, where it's really uncertain what this rotation is going to look like because Bieber might be your game 1 starter. The guy's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like he's never pitched at the Rogers Center as a Blue Jay. Like the guy's in Buffalo. And, I think Gausman post All-Star break has looked like Kevin Gausman. Yeah. Like that, I got a lot of time for that. He's one of my 3 guys. I don't know if he's game 1, game 2, or game 3, but Gausman's in my top 3. It's Bieber and Scherzer, which are the ultimate wild cards because of who they are, what they represent, but ultimately what they can be at their height. Now, Scherzer's not getting in a time machine and going back to 2015. Like you're not going to get a 7 or 8 inning gem out of Scherzer where he demands the ball for 105 pitches and shakes off the manager and says, "I'm going out here, I'm going to horse this thing, and we're going to win this ball game." That's not going to happen. But outside of the home runs, which he gives up 1 every outing, guy looks pretty good to me. Like Scherzer looks pretty healthy. He's got pretty good stuff. He's got that aura to him. Yeah, I could see Bieber, Scherzer, Gausman being your 1, 2, 3 in some capacity, which is pretty incredible when you consider where we were, 6 weeks out from spring training, where Scherzer still hadn't signed yet, and Bieber was, recovering from Tommy John in Cleveland.
It's fascinating stuff. It really is. But I mean, there's so many unknowns, right? Like that's the fascinating thing to me is like I would love to be in some of these meetings where it's got to be a day-to-day thing with this team. Like, are we going? Like, first of all, before we get to who's our top 3 in the playoffs, it's like, how do we get to the playoffs? How do we bring Shane Bieber into the fold effectively and get him up to number 1 starter speed? Which is a whole thing they're going through right now. To your point, he's what is he pitching in Buffalo tomorrow?
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday in Buffalo, and finishing up the rehab. The when he'll get here, who knows? But like, are you going to go to the 6-man rotation?
Well, Eric Lauer's sitting there saying, "Why do you not mention my name ever?" Like no one's talking about Eric Lauer, and
except every time he pitches, you're like,
yeah,
probably
kind of stops some bleeding for you if need be. Like he's put up good numbers. He's a lefty, which also is something that they don't have in the rotation. I think it should.
There's a world in which they match up against a certain team that's weak against lefties and weak against his pitch profile. They get much fancier than just lefty-righty, of course. There's a world where he's considered for this as well. And then you have the ultimate variable of Trey Savage, the number 1 prospect, who is suddenly the hottest name in town.
Yes.
He's going to come up.
Can you explain where that came from? Because I know I've been off for a while, but like the last couple of days, I'm just seeing this idea that Savage could be someone who starts a playoff game. Like forget being like a change of pace or comes in and just blows the doors off someone for 3 outs in the 7th inning or 8th inning. All of a sudden, it's like I'm picking up on crazy vibes around this guy and what the possible expectations could be internally. Forget externally.
Yeah.
Like forget, Blue Jay fans talking about it, pie in the sky. This could be really cool. Like it seems to be some smoke, like within the organization in terms of what to expect out of this guy.
There is.
This year in 25.
Because they're not saying no. Right. And Mark Shapiro didn't close the door. Ross Atkins didn't close the door, which by their standards is like, let it rip, And Savage is so incredibly gifted. He's not going to start playoff games. I think we can reel that back in. If he gets called up, it's probably in that 2 or 3 inning range. David Price, way back when he debuted with the Rays, is kind of the ultimate example of that working. Savage, I think, in our updated rankings is number 26 in baseball. He's their number 1 guy. Like, this is a legit pitching prospect. And as we've learned with Nate Pearson, with Ricky Tiedemann, all these number 1 guys over the years, as soon as they're close, cash in. And elbows are not meant to last. Shoulders are not meant to last.
Yeah.
Cash in when they're good enough. And we talked about this a bit yesterday on the show, but the question that's left is he better right now than your worst reliever? Like, it's pretty simple. Is he better than, on that depth chart, Tommy Nance, Mason Fluharty? He's more talented. He's more talented than a lot of pitchers on this roster right now. Raw talent. And while I don't think he's going to be starting, he's suddenly right there in AAA, man. He's going to start tomorrow. I think after that, he'll come in behind an opener. But that is another wild card. You've got a few of those. You need a couple of them to cash, though, on that high end.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And it sounds like George Springer's been cleared. Is he playing tonight or he's going to play tomorrow? Tomorrow in AAA? Okay, so Springer, they've missed him, and he's been a phenom for them this year. I mean, George Springer's obviously had a great year, but it's been a little bit touch and go the last week. Like, when's he getting down there? When's he going to actually show up in Buffalo? Is he going to have a rehab start or two, which clearly was always going to be the plan coming off that concussion, but I guess he's cleared for tomorrow. Yet Jimenez returned last night. So all of a sudden, like, Santander never comes up. I feel like I ask you the gratuitous update question every time I see you, but I think that's almost just put it aside. We'll see you next spring.
Is that really, like, why does that make sense, though? Wouldn't you want this bat as a pinch hit option down the stretch?
It's tough because of how he started, and the other thing I keep coming back to is how his career has worked. And with Santander, I've got a feeling, guys, that we're going to be sitting here in October and hearing, oh, that's what he had going on. Because it's been dripped out along the year. Early on, it was a shoulder thing. And then mid-season, a month or so ago, Ross Atkins said that there was a subluxation. It popped in and out. And then a week or two ago, John Schneider said there's some labrum stuff. So I'm thinking, well, guys, this is adding up. And all of this information is useful now. I'm assuming that in a month or two, we'll hear the full story of it. And I'll say, oh, of course he wasn't going to come back. But he started out really slow, which is part of the injury. But Santander has always been a really slow starter. Like, it reminds me of back when, like, Lourdes Gurriel was in Toronto. April would just suck. And you'd say, don't worry about it. May is coming. June's coming. If he starts to ramp up tomorrow, if a miracle comes down and his shoulder is healed, starts tomorrow, it's the 13th today, he's probably in rehab games in early September. Is he back for the last 2 weeks of the season? And by then, my question is that early again? Like, is this the start of another season?
Mm-hmm.
And if he comes back and goes 0 for 11 those first few games, what do you do?
Yeah. And who are you taking off the raw? Like, who are you taking at bats away from?
Because George Springer needs to be the DH.
Yeah, if he's going to play.
Thriving in that role. So it's awkward. It's the most awkward situation on the roster. And frankly, I feel bad for Santander. I feel bad for the people who are tiptoeing around this because it's awkward. There's no answer.
Yeah. I mean, what would be especially awkward is if he has surgery on, like, October 15th. Yeah. You're like, why didn't you just do that in May or June? Like, I can't imagine they're delaying surgery this long.
It's hard to imagine. It doesn't feel like it's being handled, like, logically. Because my thing is, like, why would it be awkward if he's ready to play and can hit? That wouldn't be awkward.
If he's hitting. But the position is the weird one for me with Springer at DH. And I mean, it's the playoffs. George Springer can go play shortstop for all I care. It's the postseason. You got to make it work. But the performance would honestly be my concern coming into that. Like, after a few weeks of facing pitching at the complex and then in single A, double A, triple A, is he ready to go out and face Tariq Skubal in a postseason game at that point? Can you catch up that quickly? Santander was supposed to be such a big piece. Like, if you told me that Santander missed most of the year and the Blue Jays were right here, I'd say you're crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, he was supposed to be the piece that took them over the top. They didn't do much else to the roster. They added Andres Jimenez, who kind of lowered the floor.
Yeah, in terms of his bat, for sure.
It's been stunning how it's worked, but I just don't know about the production coming back going into this. I don't care about the chemistry lineup stuff. They're adults. Come on. But I just don't know about the production coming back if he's facing minor leaguers for a few weeks.
Well, you know what's happened is Barger and Clement have basically blended together to, like, surpass what you might expect individually from Santander. I mean, the way the two of them have played, who needs Santander when you have Addison Barger and when you have Ernie Clement and the way that they've been playing? So, we got Jays Cubs again tonight, and Keegan's in here. We'll continue to look ahead to what we can expect tonight and throughout the rest of August. And we got a big signing down in Buffalo. James Cook got his money, right? He's been in camp and kind of hanging around, but not really doing much. But he got paid, and the Bills are in Super Bowl or bust mode. That's where they stand. Dave Naylor's going to be in studio, the nail gun on that and more. Shadur Sanders suffering an injury. It doesn't look like he'll be able to play this weekend. What does that do for Shadur in terms of his chances of actually making the roster? We'll get into that with nail gun and more. Still to come. Dave Feschuk's in here. Keegan Matheson. I'm Brian Hayes. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, Keegan Matheson, Dave Feschuk, and there's our main man, Dave Naylor, around the table. What's happening now, Gun?
Boy, lots. High season in the CFL.
Yes.
NFL camps now teams starting to round into form. We got James Cook done, watching the other hold-ins, and heading to Indianapolis this weekend to watch your team, the Packers. Although I'm going to be primarily focused on a guy who probably isn't going to have a lot to do with their season, which sounds counterintuitive. But Taylor Elgersma, who won the Heck Creighton Award, it's a quarterback at Wilfrid Laurier University. First Canadian university quarterback to sign an NFL contract in about 40 years.
Wow.
And I mean, it's an incredible step up when you think about it. Like, with all due respect to OUA football, from going from that, and it's not only just going from OUA football to the NFL, you're playing a different game. And we talk about this all the time when guys come from the U.S. and they got to adapt to. But I remember talking to Trey Ford after he went to Baltimore's minicamp, and one of the things he said was just the timing's different, the cadence different. Like everything's different.
Yeah.
So on top of the step up in terms of the competition and the talent around you, you're also learning another game on the fly. But he'll get an opportunity to play because Jordan Love's not playing. So, I'm looking forward to seeing
that. Concerns me, man. Jordan Love, he was hurt a lot last year.
Yeah.
And he took a step back.
Yeah,
and I think
he was better in 23 than 24.
Absolutely,
no question.
He was.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he was. And the injuries, they just kept piling up, and now he's already banged up, and they've got a bunch of other starters who aren't even taking reps. And I get it's still early August, but it's not even early August. It's August 13th now. Like, it comes at you quick, man.
Yeah.
And in the NFL football period, if you don't get your reps in, it can hurt you.
Yeah.
So, surviving camp is a big part of it, but also getting your work in is a big part of it.
It does, and it's easy to dismiss, it's middle of August. How's this going to affect them, in January? But there's a reason they have training camp. There's a reason there's reps. There's reason, and we see it all the time. Guys who either miss time in injury in camp or whatever reason, and it just kind of, especially with rookies, but it really can undermine your chances for success in the season by what happens in the summer.
Big time. And you mentioned James Cook getting signed. He gets about $30 million guarantee on an extension. $30 million
guaranteed, in
Buffalo. That's big. I mean, he was around. He's talking a big game after he signed, too. He's like, I was willing to stand in as long as it took. Not quite certain that was going to be the case for a guy who's been in the league for 3 years. But we were speaking about it earlier on SportsCenter. I think it's I think he's an integral part of their offense. I mean, that goes without saying. He's their number one back. He's got a nose for the end zone. Josh Allen can really feed off him. Like, that backfield with Allen and Cook is a real nightmare for defenses. Young guy, not a ton of touches.
No.
Like, still in his prime.
Yeah.
Seems like appropriate money. I think it's good work for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills get this stuff done, right? If you look at them traditionally, especially with their draft out, develop, retain philosophy, and they tend not to reach and overpay for guys, and they tend not to, try and chisel them down either, right? And even, it was funny, the language, if you look at the language that, say, is being used in Dallas on the Micah Parsons situation,
right,
and watch the language that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane used through this whole process, going back to the offseason. It's like, love James. In fact, Brandon Beane repeatedly referred to him as Jimbo. That's not really hard language when you're in a negotiation, when you're calling your running back Jimbo. And they kept the communication up. Even on Saturday, there was a conversation between McDermott and Cook about what he would do in the preseason game, and that's how it was resolved, that he would warm up and not play. But it never, the most aggressive thing they said was during his hold-in last week, Sean McDermott showed up at practice one day, and he said, we're moving on. Which is what you do when guys are hurt, right? You got to move on. You got to prepare when the next guy's up. But ultimately, Buffalo gets this stuff done. And you're right, 26 years old in a month, very low odometer, and kind of a unique player. Like, he's never going to be a high-volume guy. He's never going to be a break tackles guy. But the nose for the end zone that you noted, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's a home run hitter. And in a league where we're seeing less and less of the bombs away NFL because of the way secondaries are playing deep and the more of the game is happening at the line of scrimmage than 30 yards down, having the capability of a guy who can make one cut and go 70 yards, maybe makes up for some of the deep throws that we were seeing in the NFL that there aren't as many of.
So I've heard a couple of takes on this deal. There's always the one that says don't pay running backs. Period.
Yeah, I didn't know if the Bills would ever give a second contract to running backs.
I've also heard people say, no, you need to pay running backs. Saquon Barkley is Exhibit A, and this is kind of like running backs can't get no respect because he's not making a step forward from Saquon Barkley. Of course, he's not Saquon Barkley, and nobody thinks he is. How do you see it?
Well, I honestly think sometimes running backs are like goalies in hockey, and I hate being like always making everything a hockey analogy because that happens too often in this country. So I do this with like it's not my knee-jerk go-to, okay? But it's like there's lots of good goalies, right? Lots of even really good goalies. But who are the guys that make the difference, right? That's a short list. It's probably about the same as the list of running backs, right? And James Cook slots in. I think he's tied with Josh Jacobs as the 6th highest salary in the NFL. But I think what makes him unique is that most of the other guys, and Kyron Williams is a great comparable, the Rams running back who signed last week, got 3 years, $33 million, 23 of it guaranteed, is a real contrast to James Cook. Kyron Williams was on the field for like 84% of the Rams snaps last year. He touched the ball 43% of the time they ran an offensive play. James Cook, 45% of the time on the field, or 47, less than 50, 24% of touches. So the Bills' philosophy is we're going to keep this guy fresh. He's got a low odometer. We got 2 complementary backs that we situationally trust in the right situations, and James Cook will be our explosive guy, right? Where Kyron Williams is very, very different. So he's a running back whose skill set is really suited to the way the Bills have designed their offense.
Well, it's also a scenario here where Buffalo they're going to win their division. I think they're going to finish.
They got the cream puff of cream puff schedule.
They got such a soft schedule.
Even outside of the division.
Yes, exactly.
Like, holy smokes.
Yeah, compared to what Baltimore is going to face in Kansas City.
And pool on when they're going to clinch the AFC East.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I think they're going to finish 13 wins, 14, barring an Allen injury or something crazy like that, or the defense just, for whatever reason, completely falls apart, which I don't believe will happen. So you're in Super Bowl or bust mode.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea of moving off a talent like Cook does not make any sense. I don't think you can be emboldened. Like, if you have multiple rings, you might look at the running back position a little bit differently. We'll go find another guy. We're not going to overspend there. He gave us what he gave us. We got our ring. Like, Philly might feel that way about Barkley at some point. You got us a ring. Thank you for everything. Your next contract will maybe have a bit of a different viewpoint. But also, they don't have, like, all-pro offensive weaponry in Buffalo.
No,
right?
It's more of a spread it out.
Yes, they don't have Jamar Chase.
No.
They don't have Travis Kelce in his prime.
Their best talent, their most elite talent might be on the offensive line.
Yes, exactly.
Those 2 tackles.
Exactly.
Right?
Dawkins,
Brown
who I guess
Dawkins,
was banged up a little bit today, too, and that's a concern.
Yeah.
You need Allen, the offensive line, and then whatever else you can get around him, and Cook's a big part of that. So I think this made sense. I don't think they were ever going to be brash enough to say, forget it, we're moving on, or we're really going to dig in. Just get it done. Make sure everyone's in a positive mindset. Go chase a Super Bowl.
Well, and if this was a team that was at a different point of the cycle of chasing the Super Bowl, the best strategy would probably be to make James Cook play it out. Dare him not to play. Right? And go ahead. I dare you. $5.3 million. He hadn't made that much money in his career.
Right.
He wasn't even a starter in college. Right? So I dare you not to play. He plays. And, if he has a great year, then, you try and get the extension done with him. And if he doesn't, or he gets hurt for 7 games and Ray Davis goes in and you can do the analytics on your offense, Ray Davis versus James Cook, that's probably the way you do it if you're at a different point of the cycle.
I think this is a good dollar for him as well to get the guaranteed money in this. It's on the surface, it's the same as the Josh Jacobs deal, but way more guaranteed money. It doesn't turn into that rolling option year that he's getting. And back to what you're saying off the top, I think it's just a good look for the Bills.
Yeah.
What the Cowboys are doing is that antithesis example.
They take it to the edge every single
Jerry
time.
Jones talks about players like they work for a rival company. This keeps the Bean and McDermott group as the group that takes care of their guys and does it properly. That rolls over. That matters.
First hold-in they've had, and a guy who might have got this done if he wasn't the 5th guy they've given an extension to this season, 4 of them from the same draft class, which is a real credit that you have 4 guys you want to extend early. But I think that is the Buffalo way. And look, it's funny because for a while it felt like Buffalo wasn't a desirable location for players. But 2 things you see is generally guys want to stay there. And even more than that, I've never been around a team in sports ever where so many guys come back. The number of guys who played for the Bills under McDermott and Bean more than once is remarkable. And even like Tre'Davious White is the latest, right? Who's going to start at corner for them with Maxwell Hairston still nursing an injury for the start of the season. He told his agent in the offseason, there's only one team I want to play for. Get me back to Buffalo. They got something special going on there.
Yeah, they do. They really do. And, speaking of Dallas and Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons, and now Jones is saying, I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know if he'll be available week 1. I think they're playing Philly, too. They're playing the Eagles. You might want your best defensive player, your best player,
It's a reality show. He's producing a reality show.
That's exactly what it is.
Hard Knocks needs to pull up its cameras from Buffalo, get down to Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, Ed Werder was pointing out on, that he does have a Netflix special that's being produced as we speak, and that could play into the fact he's been taking the microphone every other day to say something.
He can't wait to talk, Jerry Jones. I think he'd like to win. Sure, but I don't think that's not the be-all and end-all.
No.
Like, I think if you offered him a hypothetical, we'll give you a Super Bowl this year, but then you have to leave forever.
Yeah.
He would say absolutely not.
Well, it's funny.
Absolutely not.
Super Bowl or shut up.
He'd rather 0-17 and be talking every single day.
So just a historical story for me on the Dallas Cowboys. So I covered a lot of National Hockey League before I ever covered much NFL. And you guys have been in a lot of NHL dressing rooms. Not a lot of drama, not a lot of color, not a lot of sound bites, right? And I covered the freaking Ottawa Senators under Jacques Martin for 11 years, okay? Now, you talk about, even by NHL standards, that room was a killer, like in terms of guys to say anything. So I go to cover a Giants at Dallas playoff game. It was the year that the Giants went on and upset the undefeated New England team in the playoffs, and it's at the old stadium in Dallas. And I go into the locker room afterwards, and there was so much going on in that locker room. It was like my entire career of covering the National Hockey League was exceeded by one post-game room in Dallas, which included Jerry, surrounded by the mega. It was the time that T.O. did that's my quarterback, man. Like, I'm standing 5 feet away from him when he performed that. Flozell Adams is, like, threatening reporters who get near his locker. I mean, I'm just like, where am I?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the circus.
That's Dallas,
That's the circus. That's it.
Well, and the crazy thing is that when he first got there, he bought the team in '89, I believe, and they win those 3 Super Bowls. Those teams were insane.
Insane.
Yeah. Insane people.
Yeah.
But it worked.
It worked, yeah.
So he's like keeping up with the insanity without the actual winning. He's like, let's do 30 years of the biggest, craziest personalities ever, but the 3 Super Bowls, we don't need those. I mean, it's a wild, wild story.
To play Madden in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
And for a guy who likes to sound so smart with money, he's awfully stupid with money at times. He waits to do these deals late.
And
We've
loses.
seen it with CD. We've seen it with Dak. You wait and wait and wait and wait. Every single week, a deal gets announced that is the biggest for this position ever. It only goes up.
It only goes up.
And he waits.
And Parsons, you look at the stats, like the analytics. I saw it last week. When he's on the field, I want to say throughout his career, they've had like the second most efficient defense in football. And when he's not, they're like 29th.
We see. Pay the difference makers, man.
It's
pay the difference
absurd
makers.
how much of a difference maker he is.
Yeah.
And that's the guy you're going to draw the line on. Your pass rusher, you're a machine, a guy who terrorizes offensive coordinators.
Although, Naylor, to play the devil's advocate on this, these guys doing these hold-ins, they're basically saying to the owner or the management that I'm not willing to miss a $50,000 fine per day to miss practice. Right. So I'm showing up. And I'm going to go half-hearted
strategy.
drills.
Sure.
Is there somebody that's going to test that and say, if you're not willing to give up $50,000 a day, do you have the guts to give up a full game check, which is going to be a lot more than $50,000?
Well, we're trying to think of guys we saw who did that. Le'Veon Bell did it.
Yes,
for an entire season.
Basically ended his career.
Well, it was nuts, right? Because unaware that even as talented as he was, the most replaceable position, maybe in sports, certainly in the NFL. But I'm trying to think of other guys who've actually, like Emmitt Smith did
There's been defensive
Emmitt
players.
Smith 30 years ago.
And it worked.
And they went 0-2.
And it worked.
It went, now, if they'd gone 2-0, is it different?
Well, Chris Jones did it with Kansas City. Was it last year? He missed the first game. Last year, the year before, remember? After they won the Super Bowl, he was up in the suite.
Right.
And I think he missed 1 game, maybe 2.
I mean, with the money in the NFL today, you are talking, because first of all, the guys who are doing this, I shouldn't say necessarily, some of them are coming out of the rookie contracts. But for the guys who are not in rookie contracts, the money you're talking about leaving on the table per game, even if you are on this deal that you think is crappy, you'd have to really have the courage of your convictions to sit out. it sounds nuts, but guys like could set out $1 million a week.
Yeah. Or you've made so much money, like Cam Hayward down in Pitt has made a lot of money, and he's like, I can't play off $15 million or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in Pittsburgh are thinking, dude, you're not a young man.
No.
You just got paid more. I believe he got the highest amount of money for a non-quarterback over the age of 32 or 34, whatever it was in NFL history, like a year ago or 2 years ago. And now he's saying that's still not enough. And I think people in Pittsburgh might be willing to accept that he could challenge that. Like he may actually say, I've made so much money, I don't actually have to play for $15 million.
Right.
Like that's the other end of the spectrum.
The thing I don't get on a guy like Cam Hayward is what's your why there? Like
exactly.
you said, right?
Like you're making $15 million, so you made a lot of money.
Million, you've made $150 million. You're on a team that might have a chance to go somewhere. I get it more in a James Cook, right? Because it's like, you want to try to you making the NFL as a starter. Your goal should be to try to make generational money, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're a running back, if he played on the final year of his rookie contract, I mean, we've seen running.
Yeah, you struggle, you get cut.
There was a thing I did where we looked at like how many times like teams that were winning Super Bowls had switched their running backs within like 2 seasons, right? Like it turns over quickly. So I understand a James Cook coming to a rookie contract at that position. Yeah, you try to leverage it now.
Absolutely. Dave Naylor in studio. Mary Kay Cabot down in Cleveland sent out a tweet earlier this afternoon that Shadur Sanders suffered an oblique injury throwing earlier in a joint practice with the Eagles and was held out. Means he probably won't play on the weekend. He threw 2 touchdowns. You know, he looked okay. Like he looked okay, and he looked like Sanders. That's what everyone kind of say. If he's got time, he's patient, he's very accurate. But if he misses like week 2 of the preseason due to injury, what happens here? Because Stefanski sent out the depth chart, and I believe he was still number 4 on that. Yeah. So if you're hurt and you can't play, how do you move up to even number 3? And furthermore, how do you possibly make the team? You can't be a 4th quarterback on a roster.
Well, I mean, a team could carry 3 and put 1 on the PR, right? Like
yes.
That would be the option. But
wouldn't it be him? That's what I'm saying. Like Flacco's going to start.
Started? Like, I mean, I was at the Combine in February where he was like legit top 10 pick conversation. The idea that he'd be clinging to a practice roster coming out of camp, I don't think there's a comparable for it. And look, I didn't get to Cleveland. I was actually trying to get there and just schedule didn't work out because I wanted to go down there and just, catch the vibe of what that was like down in camp and watch practice and see how the reps were being distributed. But I don't know what you do with him because obviously Cleveland didn't prioritize him. He's not even the first quarterback they took, right? And yet, if you think that there's something there, it's not going to be determined by the end of August. Like it might be 2 or 3 years of development away, and are they committed to that? And what kind of noise comes with that? So many questions around this guy.
Yeah, big time. Like
every quarterback on that roster is weird.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco, you're not really trying to win right now if you're the Browns, are you, with 40-year-old Joe Flacco? And if there was anything to Kenny Pickett, maybe that makes a bit of sense, but I don't know if there is.
No.
And then 2 rookies that you took together.
Well, and there's a 5th guy who's making more money than anybody else in the league.
None of
it makes Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, and
who's just not even can't play.
I'm trying to think of the last time a team took 2. Okay, a couple times teams took 2 quarterbacks in the draft recently. Well, Washington did it with RG3.
Yeah.
Right. They took him, and then they took Kirk Cousins, and New England took Drake May and Joe Milton. That was just last year, but it's pretty rare, right. Because you create this logjam. I mean, it's hard enough to find reps for a rookie at training camp. Never mind 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, right? Like,
especially when neither one in that case is like your guy. Like at least in New England, it's Drake May and Joe Milton.
Yes.
Right? And even at the start in Washington, it was RG3 and Kirk Cousins. It was, but these 2 guys are. One's what?
Yeah.
When did they
3rd
take
round
Gabriel?
pick and a 5th round
3rd and a 5th.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel went in the 3rd,
never
I
seen
think.
anything like that.
And none of those 5th rounders brought ESPN to your camp every single day.
Right.
And all of that attention and annoying your coach every single day with questions about a 4th string quarterback.
It's a great. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I was going to say, like the fact that you're talking about the Cleveland Browns is an amazing thing. I mean, there's value in Shadur Sanders for that alone, right? Like I don't know about a borderline player that has had more attention on him.
Well, it's Tebow, it's Manziel, like that's what it feels like.
Tebow's a great job.
NFL teams love having attention on their quarterbacks, or they don't mind it. They don't love having attention on their backups, right? And one of the qualities, I always said this about Doug Flutie. One of the reasons that Doug Flutie played up here so long, when he was clearly good enough to go back and play there, was if he's not starting, nobody wants him there. Because if Doug Flutie's your backup and your starter has a mediocre first 3 or 4 games, cameras are going there.
Get Doug
right?
Flutie in
and
there.
Yeah, and I don't think Doug was, certainly in his prime, was wired to be a backup. He had to start in Canada because I don't think teams would have wanted him there. It just, he's a magnet for attention. And he's not like a guy who's craving it. It just finds him. He's just one of those guys who, because of the magic of things he did, and teams just, and actually ultimately look what happened. Buffalo committed to him, made him their starter. They had a bunch of success. And the minute they decided he wasn't their starter, it kind of didn't work anymore, right? He really ended up out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they end up doing, because even the owner down in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago, he basically took himself out of the whole operation. He's like,
this
it
is
wasn't
the
me.
same owner, by the way, who told them to take Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. And allegedly, because of
He's
a
a good
homeless
guy.
guy.
He's the whisperer.
He's a quarterback guru.
Johnny Manziel might have been Shadur Sanders before Shadur Sanders.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
we might have seen that free fall happen, right?
And also, Manziel should have gone in the 5th round.
Yes, that's
he
what
should
I'm
not
saying.
have gone in the
that's
first
what I'm
round.
saying. If they don't take him at 24th,
Yeah.
the first round, where does he go next?
It's a great question.
Like, he might have been Shadur Sanders before.
Yep,
That's
before
right. Before we ever saw that.
And of course, it
both
was in
stories,
Cleveland.
of course, involved the Browns.
Yeah, it was in Cleveland.
Hey, speaking of sideshows that actually have some talent, Taylor Swift, of course, taking over the NFL universe yet again. I think this is like the New Heights pre-show, right? Because I think it gets released when OverDrive is over.
Yes.
New Heights will be released.
Well, they're smart enough.
Yes.
They don't want to
They
compete
don't
with
wanna
us.
compete.
There you go.
Absolutely.
They
The
don't wanna
Kelce
compete.
brothers and Taylor Swift can't meet the 4 of us. Come on.
So that'll be fun. Obviously, the biggest star on the planet talking to the 2 biggest podcasting stars in the NFL. But I was curious about your take on Travis, who actually still is a football player,
Yeah.
along with being a podcaster. And he had the big piece in GQ where he's posing with alligators and pythons and shirtless and doing all the glamour stuff. But he also had this sort of profile where he made it very clear that he wasn't happy with his standard of play these past 2 years. The fact that he went back to his old trainer, he acknowledged that maybe the trappings of celebrity got to him a
Time
little
away,
bit.
sure.
Yeah, and now he's leaner, meaner, back to what he was.
And older.
And also 35 years old.
That's my concern.
And when you watch that, you and I were both at the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and it was a pretty pathetic performance from more than one Chief, but certainly Kelce was in that group. Do you think there's real gas in that tank, or how do you see that?
I have trouble believing that. And I think sometimes there are guys who, the aura around them and everything they've accomplished keeps them in the game. Maybe not in the game too long, but keeps their role more prominent than it should be and keeps their salary more prominent. Like the Chiefs aren't going to cut Travis Kelce, right? They're not going to go to him and say, hey, we don't think you're a $20 million, I don't know the salary off the top of my head, so I'm making this up. But we don't think you're worth what we did in this that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd be cutting Taylor Swift.
But be cutting
a dumb move.
Taylor Swift as well. No, the Chiefs are going to be interesting to me because, Patrick Mahomes, even last year when he's having a year, he's still like in the betting favorite to be most valuable player till well into the season. And it's now been like multiple years where he has not been among the most efficient passers in football. And you can argue about their weapons, and certainly a couple of years ago that was certainly the case, and we'll see what happens this year. But I think Kelce's drop-off is part of Mahomes' drop-off. Now, Mahomes may play his best football of his life in 3 years. But right now, that whole offense, they have really sustained this window mostly on defense. For all the accolades that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce get. So no, I'm not buying the Kelce stuff.
No, me neither, man. I think there could be a rude awakening coming there. I mean, I think Kelce, you don't just find it at that age. Right. And especially if you're speaking to celebrity, yet you're still doing your podcast and photo shoots and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, 35 for a primary offensive player in football is ancient.
Yes, exactly.
Lumbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he does.
And he's taking hits over his career.
You
You run through the middle of the field, you're going to get hit.
The catch radius.
It's actually it was a fascinating article because his trainer was to your point, Keegan. The trainer was pointing out that he's never been fast.
Yeah.
Even he's going through he's only at 16 miles per hour, whereas the top guys are past 20 miles an hour. This guy's never had to have like breakout speed to get open and to make big plays. Right.
He's just smart and he catches everything.
That's the thing. He knows angles and
he's got a quarterback that will tell him be spontaneous if you have to. Right. That's a big part of it.
There was one week the Bills were playing the Chiefs, and McDermott does this media session, and he gets all these very pointed questions, the week whatever, and then one of the reporters just asked him, said, "Sean, Why is Travis Kelce always open?
Yeah. Great question, though. Great question. Great question. All right, Nail Gun, great seeing you, man. Thank you for doing this.
Good to be here in studio. Enjoy it very much, guys. Thanks very much for
There
the
he is.
show.
Dave Naylor, our football insider. Steve Phillips in about 15, 20 minutes. Role play level of concern coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Steve Phillips in about 15 minutes. Role play level of concern coming up, where one of us will play the role of Shohei Ohtani. What's up with Shohei, man? Like now, and I love how his agent, it can't just be Shohei who's possibly ruining people's lives, allegedly, in Hawaii. His agent, too, right?
He's just nearby.
Yeah.
Nearby.
Yeah, just some other guy. Like, he's always got a fall guy with him.
Shohei is not into gambling. It was his interpreter.
Yeah, the interpreter. Sabotaging real estate? No. His agent.
It's just his agent.
It's not Shohei. He doesn't know what's going on. He just wants to go out there and play ball and have fun.
The dangers of all these business deals, man. Imagine how many business deals he has. Like, consider Japan, North America, and like something like this, which is so far detached from him. It's not even like a shoe brand he wears. It's a community they're building, and I love the advertising in it. That Shohei will have a unit here, and he plans to spend significant time here. You, too, for this price, could have a daiquiri with Shohei Ohtani.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff being sold there, man.
Yeah, I'm curious what's going on with old Shohei, man.
Hey, man. Like for a guy who just has the most, squeaky clean image on the surface and could not be a more kind of perfect player, in terms of, you could not invent this guy, because if you did, people would think you were nuts for believing there could be a hitter this good that's also a pitcher this good. I mean, it is like, you wonder, like,
what a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
Just all this trouble kind of following Shohei around.
It's very strange.
Something doesn't add up, man.
I feel like Brian Windhorst. Why would that be?
Yeah, now why would you do that? The guy says hi to the umpire every single at bat.
Yes. So polite.
Yeah, he's so polite.
Wonderful manners.
What's going on with Shohei? I'm curious, man. I'm curious, but I have a feeling baseball is going to say,
Well, the beauty of it is,
don't worry about it.
And Keegan, you know this from local experience. Like, when you claim not to speak English or you don't do interviews in English, life is a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to answer for anything.
He doesn't do much media whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, he's untouchable. He's way up here.
Right.
And very, very controlled by design.
Yeah, he's gonna. He'll when he
Very
hears Hawaii, that'll be sorry guys. Quick question about Hawaii. End of discussion.
Exactly.
That is enough for Shohei and company.
Like Ichiro pulled that stunt, and then he shows up at the Hall of Fame and gives
One of the all-time great speeches.
Great speech. And
yeah, who are the Miami
Spanish,
Marlins?
Perfect.
Never
English,
heard
a
of
little
him.
bit of Spanish. I mean,
Guys cracking jokes, landing punchlines. Brilliant.
in English.
In English.
Which he never spoke as a player.
Yeah, can't do it. All right, Steve Phillips, role play coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Brian Hayes, Keegan Matheson, Dave Feschuk in here. Roleplay level of concern a little bit later in the hour. Steve Phillips in a few moments. We're about halfway through August. The guys will be back. I guess had surgery on his other labrum today. So shout out to the O-Dog, recovering.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's going to possibly put an end to his golf season, which is very disappointing. But
That's tough.
Yeah, it's very tough. Very tough. But he's fighting through that. Noodles is back home, ready to rock. And they'll be back in a few weeks. And the Hayes is a fraud kind of world and reference continues to stay alive. The reason I bring that up out of the gate is because Rue just sent a tweet in claiming he yelled Hayes is a fraud at Nota Begay for some reason.
Nota Begay.
Why would Nota Begay respond to that?
Where was that?
I guess he's down at the FedEx. Is that where he is? Like
Okay.
maybe Nota's down there because it's an NBC thing. And I guess
yeah.
Nota was out like in between doing shifts on the Golf Channel, just hacking some balls around. And some guy yells, Hayes is a fraud to Nota Begay.
You're getting Hayes as a frauded in Memphis?
Yeah, you can't yell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe you can yell it. Gord Miller sent me a text yesterday. This is the new thing for Gord. Gord flies all around the world. He's overseas for the Gretzky-Helenka right now.
Right.
And guys walk up to him, say, I want to say Hayes is a fraud. Gord goes, okay, let me record it. Guy records it. He sends it to me. Everywhere he goes.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Anywhere around the world, someone is there speaking in broken English, if it's in Europe, saying Hayes is a fraud. I'm like, all right, fine. You're directing it to Gord. He will send it to me. That's fine.
And that's a hockey rink.
And it's a hockey rink.
Yeah, fair
Some guy
enough.
said it to me yesterday. I was at Teamtown Sports. Teamtown Sports out in Whitby. Great store, awesome staff. Was there with my kid picking up hockey stuff. Some guy came over, just said, fraud, kept walking. Okay, I can live
like
with
it.
that. You can't yell Hayes is a fraud to Nota Begay.
No, I've gotten 2 of them, actually,
Okay,
the
but
last few weeks.
But you're within,
And
like,
it's,
there's a separation here that
you're in
makes
the-
sense.
You're in the orbit.
You're in the orbit of
Yeah.
fraudulence.
And it's...
Nota Begay is not.
No, he's not. I get it when I walk out. I walk out the same door the players do. So there's always a level of disappointment among people when I walk out. And I can see as I'm getting close to the door, it's,
There he is. Who's that, a
man,
catcher?
is that
No, it's Keegan.
DH? No, it's
Yeah.
just this
Oh,
guy.
it's Keegan.
And I get a couple of those. I never know what to say to it, though. It's that being spoken at.
Right.
Hayes is a fraud. I say, okay.
Just thumbs up.
You want to have a
and keep
conversation,
walking.
or is it best if I just keep going?
Yeah.
I normally just keep
Those
going.
are the vets, like a guy that can transition it quickly. Like, Hayes is a fraud. By the way, what do you think for Matthews this year?
Yeah.
You think he'll
Yeah.
score 50 again? And you're like,
I've
so
seen
was
that.
That was an icebreaker, and now
Absolutely.
we're getting into something else. I like that. I like that. Those are the true vets.
Yeah. Like if it was Sansi.
Totally
it makes sense.
understandable.
Regular on the show.
Can't yell it at Nota Begay.
Brad Faxon, he's a regular on the
Fax
show.
would probably understand.
Had a lot of great appearances on this show.
Absolutely.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But I don't believe Nota Begay's ever been on the show.
He's been on, but
Maybe
Nota
once.
is not aware of the reference
I was
at all.
probably worried.
And he's worrying.
You know?
Yeah, he's working on his short game. Like, leave the guy alone. He's a busy guy. Why are you
point.
yelling that at him? What's the purpose
It's
of
going
that?
to become the whole thing now. The most obscure person that you can yell, hey,
Yeah.
fraud at. It's
That
only
is
gonna get
actually
worse.
a good question. Like, again, within my orbit, if you guys get it, Noodles gets it all the time. It happens. But who is out there in the world that has been subjected to Hayes is a fraud chance where there's absolutely no reason
just-
for them to have any clue what that would possibly mean.
shaking their heads, going,
Yeah.
what is this?
And
guy
how far
talking
can we push that? Because that's
Yeah.
the next layer that I can appreciate.
Well,
I can
wonder,
appreciate that.
Would you get you get all these yahoos that go to a golf tournament, get sauced up on multiple tall boys, and then they say somebody hits a ball and it's mashed potatoes in the hole.
Yeah.
Would it be?
I like that.
The tee shot. Hayes is a fraud.
Well, the ladies are at Mississauga next week.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Let's get some
Get
cooking.
get an audience.
Yes.
Henderson on number 1 or Brooke Henderson on the rink hole. They're going to have a rink hole at the Women's Open.
Make sure you don't say it when she's mid-swing, but after she launches her golf ball, someone yell it out.
I like
Hayes is
pick it
fraud,
up.
by the way.
Yeah, who was that again? I don't even remember who that was.
Is that weird?
Oh, that was Mike Weir.
Mike
That's
Weir.
right. Yeah.
And if someone said it to me, I didn't know didn't know what it was, I'd be worried. I'd be saying, is this a political statement of some sort? Do I need to freeze up? I'd say, I have no
Are we
comments.
protesting something?
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'm not educated on either side of his beliefs.
You're right.
You know?
You're right. And that would really throw you, because
I'd panic.
I know there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world. That was not one that I figured I would have to come across, but okay, let's try to get to the bottom of
you know
this.
who'd like there to be a Hayes is a fraud thrown at them? Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
Because then it's like, I'm not the fraud.
Yeah, exactly.
Hayes.
Go talk to Hayes. Somehow I will be implicated in
He'll
this.
take the fall.
I've never been to Hawaii. I don't have $240 million. But somehow I'm going to take the fall for
your name's
Shohei.
brought into it.
Yes.
Your name is being brought in.
It wasn't Shohei. It was this guy in Toronto. It was all a big misunderstanding. And I'll be serving 38 months.
There you go.
That's my plan.
That could be.
It would be a nice prison.
I think about it if Ohtani's willing to give me about 30, 40 million cash.
Well, I think they're lawyer up. You might be able to make a deal like that.
Yeah, maybe I could find a way to make that happen. All right, Jays Cubs tonight. Gosman back on the mound. Gets Scherzer on the mound tomorrow. And there's been a lot of focus on AAA. Like Manoah had a rehab start today. It did not go well for Alek Manoah. He's not pitching in 2025. He never was, but he's certainly not now.
There was faint hope, wasn't there?
There was no hope.
Yeah.
Because we also forget what he looked like prior to the injury. He couldn't pitch.
It's been a while.
Yes.
And it's been years. It's been a few years. And we got caught up in the encouraging comeback last year. But it would have taken an injury before. Now it's going to take 2, 3, and that's not going to happen.
He's not pitching for this
It's
team
about
this
next year. And if he's only throwing 91, this is still in the TJ recovery. I can't be too hard on him. But if he's only throwing 91, you'd better be perfect.
Yes.
He needs to find some of that velocity again. I think next spring, guys, I'm down in Dunedin, and we're talking about, is he going to win the number 5 job?
Okay. Here's Steve Phillips, our TSN Baseball Insider, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Play the role of the GM here, I guess, with Toronto, Steve. Like Alek Manoah, his future, how you handicap the possibility that he helps your baseball club in the future. How do you approach that topic?
Yeah, I think that I don't hold out a lot of hope on it. And I think that you plan that he's insurance. You don't plan that he's part of an answer. And you build the rotation short-term and long-term with him being an extra guy, not being an answer. I don't think you can plan on it. And then what happens is if he figures it out, great, then you're even better than you thought. But I don't think you can have an expectation of his returning to the form that he had at his best. I just think it's been too long. Then you're dealing with injury. I don't see him as a factor at all this year. And again, I'm not going to judge either too harshly the velocity coming back from Tommy John surgery. But listen, Sandy Alcantara with the Marlins, it was a Cy Young Award winner, and he's got a 7 ERA this year coming back from Tommy John. We get spoiled by guys who come back and go right back into dealing, and they look great, and Ohtani's pitching again, and he's throwing 100, and, we think everybody should be able to just bounce back, and it's just not that easy. And so, and I'm with you, and even before he got hurt, he had some issues. He wasn't quite the same pitcher that he had been. So I think you in my mind, if I could have gotten Joan Duran for him at the deadline, I would have made the trade in a heartbeat. And I don't know that was an offer that was considered or that was there, or whether Minnesota would have taken a flyer on it. And they may have thought to themselves, he'd be an extra guy in the deal. We'd take him. But I would have put him in a deal and not look back if I could have gotten a dominant closer.
Well, and I'm in total agreement with you. Meanwhile, Shane Bieber's coming back from Tommy John, and there's a chance he starts game 1 of the ALDS. So I'm curious how we kind of marry the two here. Now, his stuff has been electric. He was obviously a Cy Young winner, 5 years ago. But where do you stand with Bieber continuously looking good with AAA Buffalo? He'll make another start in a couple of days. And what do you think the ceiling is for him come October?
Yeah, again, it's somewhat unpredictable. I love how he is looking like himself on his rehab starts. He's not getting knocked around. He is throwing strikes. His velocity is generally where you would expect it to be. And so he does feel like a veteran who's, knows what he's doing, working his way back in. And even if he has lesser stuff, he's going to know how to pitch around it because he's got quality secondary stuff and experience. So I'm excited about him. And, you know, we'll see what's fair to expect once he comes back and faces major league hitters, which is going to be a lot different than facing minor league hitters. But I would say that if he does factor into the rotation for the playoffs, I would strongly consider Jose Barrios taking that sweeper and making him an 8th, 9th inning guy. I would. I know that he threw well again yesterday. Barrios did, but you know, I just think that I think he's got a resilient arm, and he's a hard worker, and he's got that pitch that can be a swing and miss pitch coming in late, and his fastball velocity will play up if it's a 1-inning spurt as well. Because I think they should really start thinking about, with these 6 starters, who and how do you factor them into your bullpen to enhance your bullpen as well.
See, that seems like the big variable these next 6-7 weeks with the Blue Jays. How to handle the 6th, and then who to bump out, ideally at the end or if it comes sooner. And we batted around the Scherzer idea yesterday. I think he's too good. I think he just needs to start. But if you're in that GM chair again, do you ride with the 6th man from here on to the end and then pivot to that Barrios idea you like? Or how do you handle that from the start? Because it's a real wealth of talent they've got. No obvious guy.
Right. So I would take it till, you know, the last couple weeks. And then if, you know, again, I want to make sure I win the division. That's number one. So I don't want to do anything that jeopardizes that. But as you get some cushion, then I would have no problem moving to a 5-man with working around off days and everything else and starting to explore a little bit with Barrios, for me, with Barrios in the 9th inning. I don't think Scherzer has the bounce back ability from one day to the next to be able to be a reliever. And I don't think he, you know, at his age can warm up in a way that you need it. So I don't think he factors in as a bullpen guy for me. But I think that Barrios is a resilient arm. I think Lauer has done both. So I see him in a playoff situation also going to the bullpen and then going with Gausman and Bassett and Scherzer and Bieber in that rotation. If you're going to go 4, you know, or 3, depending upon the series, that would be how I'd line it up.
Steve, I've been told it's International Left-Handers Day. So I wanted to ask you about Lauer because we were talking about him off the top of the show. Like, in a lot of ways, he gets the short shrift on this team. He's got the lowest ERA on the staff. He's pitched just lights out. They'd really be in a pickle without him. And he's a left-hander, which is something they do not have beyond him in any significant way. Do you think there's a matchup scenario where he could factor into your top 3 in a playoff scenario if it was the right team at the right time?
Yeah, I think maybe. I keep an open mind about it. I don't want to be locked in on any of it. And, you know, and I want Pete Walker and John Schneider to obviously have input into it. I'm not going to dictate, but, you know, I will suggest in a way to try to, you know, gain some momentum about how I see it. But I can absolutely be convinced otherwise. You know, this has got to be a collective decision, not just a general manager's decision. To go in with the manager and the pitching coach and the coaching staff as to how to line it up. And I absolutely believe, like, for instance, the Baltimore Orioles aren't a playoff team, but if they were, they do not hit left-handers at all. And in that situation, you might consider, by the way, they hit every other right-hander the Blue Jays have, the Orioles do, and they did this year, that, you know, Lauer might actually be the right fit against a team like that, although they're not going to be a playoff team. But you know what I'm saying? So, matchups can matter. But I think the other thing to keep in mind is that in the playoffs, you can have a quick hook, you've got built-in off days, and Lauer could impact multiple games from the left side with right-handed starters, where you're going to get the left-handed bats in the lineup to start the game, and then if you piggyback Lauer, you know, he could come in on the back end of a starter and then force the other manager to make some personnel decisions mid-game. And make some switches in their lineup mid-game that then set your matchups up better for later in the game. And so he could be a weapon in a lot of different ways, and I think he will be a weapon for them. He's been a real guy this season. He was a great minor league sign to bring in on a minor league deal, and he's proven to have a big impact on this team.
With Steve Phillips, our TSN Baseball Insider. So Ernie Clement had a big home run last night, and it turns out after the game, John Schneider, who was in a great mood, right, because they beat the Cubs, so he missed a sign to lay down a bunt. and it worked out pretty well for them. Like everything is breaking the way of the Blue Jays right now. But I'm curious, like obviously it's great. He hit the home run, you win the game. But in your experience, is that the end of it? Or does the manager actually end up coming to him and saying, kind of the old, hey, nice catch, A's, don't ever do it again. Like, great stuff, good job. But when we lay down a signal, make sure you get it.
Yeah, I actually think that the best time to fine a player is after he missed the sign and had success.
Yeah.
Because you got the benefit of it, but it's also a reminder for him. And you remember, when you make that decision, you're managing the other 25 players on the roster as well. That, look, when we have a plan, we have, one, you can't miss signs. Two, if you get a sign, you can't ignore a sign. And so I might zing him a little fine to do that. And I mean, it may be one that I give it back to him at the end of the year, but I wouldn't mind making a statement out of that, especially because everyone's feeling good about it, but you can make sure that the next time everybody is paying attention to it.
I think it's clear they talked about it too, because by the time we had gone down to the Blue Jays clubhouse, Ernie Clement was coming out to the media backdrop, which they keep outside now, and Schneider walked past. And he said, Ernie, I told them, they all know. And he broke out laughing like, oh, man, you blew my cover there. So they definitely talked. But Ernie's such a big part of that offense. And, Steve, when I look at this offense now, first in average, first in on-base percentage, middle of the league in home runs, it feels kind of old school, but it also feels like an identity, and it's been very consciously done. Do you think this is an offense built for postseason games that are often so tight and lower scoring?
So, it's interesting. I think that the thing about the Blue Jays offense is that they don't strike out.
Yeah.
Right? What we've seen over the last few years is that contact hitting offenses seem to be the most successful in the postseason because you get productive outs. You advance runners. You can get a runner in from third and take advantage of a scoring opportunity where if you're getting swing and miss, that guy gets stranded and you don't get the run in. And so I think that is one of the best aspects of their offense. Now, there is a philosophy that in the postseason, you need power because you realize you're facing the best pitchers in the game and you're going to have a difficult time lumping 3 singles together, 4 singles in an inning to put up a crooked number. What you need is a bloop and a bomb. You need to take advantage of a walk and then a double off the wall. And so, having that slug is valuable and important, but they've got enough slug and enough power that, especially after their slow start at the beginning of the year where they didn't hit any home runs, I think that, since they've gotten hot, their power numbers are playing, and it has length and depth throughout the lineup. So I think it is an offense that is conducive to playoff baseball, especially because they don't swing and miss.
Well, and Vladdy Guerrero Jr., personifies everything you just talked about. And you look at him right now, he had 3 hits again last night. He's a night or two away from a slash line of hitting 300, 400 on base, 500 slugging. Like he's got a 300, 399, 490 slash right now. He's up to 19 home runs, so he's hit 6 since the All-Star break. He's healthy. He plays every single day. Like Vladdy, this is what he did last year. Like it was a little bit more extreme last year. But in the second half, you could argue he's certainly a top 3 batter in the game. I mean, undoubtedly, the way he was performing. And that's where he's going here again, Steve. And the power numbers they're not going to jump off the page. Maybe he gets to 30 by the end of the regular season, but he's certainly going to be in the mid to high 20s. But if he's got an OPS up around 950, 975, and that's where it's trending, he gets on base a ton, he never strikes out, plays every day. I mean, Vladdy, this is why you'd pay the guy $500 million plus.
Yeah, I mean, this version of him, look, when he's not his best, he's still very good.
Right.
We just, we think about the money, we think back about when he is at his best, what it looks like. And, I think that, when he's not his best, he just doesn't have that complete belief that he can stay back, let the ball travel, and hit the bottom of the baseball. So he sort of gets halfway there, and it changes his bat plane that gives him more of the line drive and the ground ball. And he still hits it hard. We know that. He's got one of the hardest hit rates in baseball. And when he's right is when he can sort of sit back a little bit, and you see that home run swing where he can get the uppercut to it, but he's got to wait instead of getting out in front to do there. And so I think he is getting more confidence right now. And I think and look, he's hustling. You know, he's running balls out. He's diving to make plays. I mean, he is, honestly, what I appreciate is he shows that he's accepting the responsibility that comes with that contract. You know, there are times where Juan Soto doesn't really seem like he's as intense as he should be out in the outfield, right? That he's as intense as he should be running the bases. That's not Vladdy. Vladdy shows that he's accepted the responsibility that comes with being such a high-paid player, the highest-paid player on his team, one of the highest-paid players in the game, and I've got mad respect for him in that regard.
Steve, you've been in the upper management ranks of a Major League Baseball team at good times and bad times. It's a very good time for the Blue Jays, and yet Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins do not appear to have clarity on their long-term futures in Toronto. You know, what do you think they might be going through in that situation, given how great the season's going, and yet there is some uncertainty going forward?
So I sort of lived that myself, that I went into the 2000 season. We made the playoffs in 99. I had a year left on my deal, and the owner said, no new contracts. We're going to play out the year, and then we'll negotiate. I'm like, well, man, we just went to the playoffs. Like, can I not get an extension? But he wanted to wait. And so we did, and we ended up going to the World Series the next year. And I was grateful that we waited because I got a bigger payday than I would have gotten if I had taken a deal after 99. And so I think the best thing for both of them is that if the Blue Jays keep playing well, they win the division, they're going to get contract offers to stay. And I don't know that it's tied to winning a playoff series or not. I really don't, and I don't know that it should. But I think that if they want to stay, they'll stay. And if they don't want it back, Mark Shapiro will get a job in baseball somewhere someday, and he might actually be commissioner of baseball at some point. Like, he's that well respected around the game, and he's that good a baseball guy. And Ross will find a job somewhere, maybe back in Cleveland if he doesn't get a job there as an assistant with Chris Antonetti and the guys there, Michael Chernoff. But, you know, they'll both find jobs somewhere else. And so I think that's fine for them. Play it out and get a bigger payday when you have great success.
Steve, if everyone is back, one of their big tickets this offseason will be Bo Bichette. And I think the Jays' success has kind of overcast that story that he is a pending free agent. But Bo is right back to all of his career norms, hitting almost 300 with a just above 800 OPS. This is the best he's looked in a couple of years here. And when I've looked at his free agency, I've always kind of roughly used that Willy Adames deal, whether you move up or down. But we're so far inside the Bichette discourse here in Toronto every day. I'm curious how you think the rest of the league views that value, because it seems like he's a guy that can have a wide range team to team.
So I think that I do think that he will get a mega contract. I think that, you know, he's going to want to shoot for Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts deals and what those guys got. It's definitely going to be more than $200 million. I think the question is, you know, is he locked into being a shortstop? You know, if he's willing to play somewhere else, then I think he draws even more teams in. I mean, 27, he'll play next year at 28. I think his birthday's in March. You know, he's got a chance to get a monster payday because he's got teams that need a shortstop that will have interest, teams that need second base or third base. If he's willing to broaden his scope, I think they're all going to be in on him. So I think that it will be in the $200+ million range, and the more he plays and the more he performs in October, it could creep up into the mid to upper $200+ million. So, and look, the Jays should be able to play in that range because it's got a chance to be I mean, he's going to play at 28. He's got a chance to be an 8, 9, 10-year contract. And I would have the guts to be able to give him that kind of a deal.
Yeah, listen, they talk about continuity, and, you know, Bo has talked about wanting to finish the job here with Vladdy, and he and Vladdy are very, very close. And to his credit, he's having a great year. Like, last year was a disaster for him, a disaster. A lot of that was injury-based, but to Bo's credit, man, he stayed healthy. He's performing. He hits like he always does. And, yeah, it's a huge platform for him. Like, you get into the playoffs and you become a clutch hitting shortstop, like that could elevate you that much more, I would think.
Yes.
In terms of what that agent might be asking for, right, Steve?
Oh, for sure. And, he's a personality too. You know, he's a guy that could be the face of your organization. He understands that when he does an interview, he's got to give a quote, but he doesn't say anything controversial. And so, there's a lot to like about him as a player. And, the biggest question was health and could he get back to being who he was? You figured if he was healthy, he could, and he's showing 100% that he can be. And so good for him. He's put himself in a position. And look, the best thing for the Blue Jays was for him to go out and play well.
Yep.
Because it gave you a chance to win, and now you got a chance to identify the value. And it's a lot like Vladdy, where they had, after his year last year, it was clear that Vladdy was an upper echelon guy when he'd always been a little bit less than that. And now Bichette has proven that he is that level of player as well. And I think he's going to get a payday. Look, and I could see the deal getting over $300 million for him with as much competition as there could be with teams that will have interest in him, especially if he opens up his positional consideration.
All right, Steve, we'll leave it there. We'll do it again later in the week. Thank you for this.
You bet. My pleasure, guys. Have a good week.
Steve Phillips joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Drive the built-in Canada fuel-efficient, fun-to-drive Toyota RAV4. Gas or hybrid models available. Visit mapletoyota.com. This will be the first, probably the first significant barometer in terms of how this front office is going to operate, or the ownership, I think more importantly, with the magnitude of the Vladdy deal on the books. Right, and there's a lot of money coming off. Springer's off after next year. Bassett's coming up. Gosman's coming up. There's a lot of money that's coming off the books. But you're going to have to continuously prove, if you're Rodgers, it's not just Vladdy's getting all this, and then we'll see what's left for everyone else. Where Vladdy needs to just be, he got paid appropriately. If you want to run with the big boys, like the Mets, like the Yankees, like the Dodgers, if Bichette continues to play like this, stays healthy, performs in the fall, and he wants $300 million, you got to give him $300 million.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you
don't? What else are you going to do?
Look, the reason I'm saying do you is because Keegan brings up the very astute point that, the market value for a shortstop of that ilk is Willie Adames at 180 times 7, which is $25 million a year. So, you got to get to $300 million, you got to give him a lot of years.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's the matter of, is he a shortstop? There will be teams out there that thinks he's a second or third baseman. And there will be teams that think he's a shortstop. His sprint speed has gone off a cliff this year. He still makes it work. I think he's still a solid defensive shortstop, but he's going to have a massive range, like the biggest range in the whole market. And it's not just about liking him. You got to like him the most. But I agree. The Jays need to continue to spend. Look at ticket prices right now.
They're
getting cheaper. They're bringing in money.
And it's a packed house every single night, right?
He's
that's
popular, to Steve's point.
Yeah,
his
he is.
personality, he's popular.
Matters.
Well, you realize the value in homegrown talent has been here for a long time.
Yeah.
I had an example of it with my kids over the weekend and friends of ours' kids. I was quizzing them. We were just out messing around and, what's 10 times 10 times, whatever. And I asked them, using a different team as an example, name 5 Maple Leafs. They're all young kids, 10 and under. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. All of them yelled out Matthews and Marner.
Yeah.
And then they realized, Marner's not here anymore. And they struggled to find a third guy.
Right.
Even with Nylander here for just as long. Tavares. Mitch, it was Matthews and Marner. It's been Vladdy and Bichette.
Yes.
That's who it's been for 10 years.
He's a one-name guy. He's
yes,
both.
he is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's value in that. So 300 might be arbitrary. The point is, if someone else is willing to pay him $300 million, are you going to play or not? That's what baseball's at. Now, it might change if they have a lockout and a cap comes at some point. But Steve Cohen basically said to Pete Alonso, who has now hit more home runs than anyone else in Mets history, call me when you're ready for me to pay you $1 more than whatever anyone else is willing to offer you. That's basically what he did. And he sat up there with his mic all winter, and he's like, yeah, we'll see what happens with Pete. When Pete snaps out of it and calls me, we'll make it work. And I think the same thing needs to apply here, that if Bichette goes to market and comes back and goes, I'll stay, I got 280 over here, I'll stay for 280 here, you got to give him 280.
Yeah.
Or if you want a nickel and dime and go find someone else, go for it. But let's see what happens.
But Keegan, other owners do not like to play the Steve Cohen game, right? No, people like to throw out the Steve Cohen contract.
Wish they were all Steve Cohen. That'd be a hell of a league to cover.
No, but I mean, you know,
but
what
they
I'm
just
saying?
did it
Like,
with Vladdy, though.
like
they just did it with Vladdy.
Yeah,
Vladdy was not quote unquote worth $560 million or whatever
until Soto got 765 or whatever. Yeah.
But
or he
barometer's
was
the
this
right
close
word.
to leaving.
It's going to be an opportunity to declare to the league, the rest of the league, we're a big market. We're the big boys. We spend, and after we've spent, we're going to keep spending and spending and spending and spending.
Right.
And man, it does matter that he's the guy here that everyone knows. That matters. All the people, all the kids that know, Austin Matthews, they're going to be buying tickets someday too. And that's how you build that fan culture. It matters. He's recognizable. Everyone loves the guy.
Yeah. And listen, they still got to get through the rest of August, September, get into the postseason, see what happens there. There's still more to evaluate.
And if he has a moment in October, good luck not bringing him back.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, it could be Marner-esque in the fact that if he doesn't have a moment and they don't do anything in the playoffs, does it not turn into a very sour situation after a great season?
It absolutely could.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to the evaluation of Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro and everything if you get into the playoffs and you still can't win.
Right.
But you got to get there first, and they're well on their way. Role play level of concern coming up. Mark Schlereth in just over half an hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
You can never ask me to stop drinking. Do you understand?
I do. I really do.
One bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
All right, role play level of concern. We know the way this works. Keegan, lucky enough, you've played this before, so I'm sure that was a life accomplishment for you. And Dave, you've played this many times, so you know the way it works. We haven't done it in a while, but figured we'd kickstart things with Keegan playing the role of Jose Barrios.
All right.
All right, you're playing
Similar physiques.
Yes, absolutely. And we talked about this earlier. Now let's apply it to role play level of concern. If the Blue Jays end up playing in the wild card round, what is your level of concern you will not be given one of the 3 starts?
Ooh, at this point, full 12-pack.
It's a lot of
full
booze,
12-pack.
man. So that's a lot. It's not nuclear option.
No,
right?
no.
That's not Nick Cage leaving Las Vegas.
No, but 5%ers, nothing light.
Yeah.
You know, that's
talking
very
East
real.
Coast stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Always.
I got you. Cape Breton style.
But it's real, please. An island, if you didn't know. But that's a big worry at this point. And Barrios, I think, more than anyone, would be a pro about all of it. But we've talked about the 3 options of Bieber, Gausman, I think definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Scherzer, there's still a lot of variables because of the age going into this point. But I think at this point, you've got to look at him as that number 4. And even behind him, Bassett can get hot.
Yeah.
Eric Lauer can find the right
And he's a
matchup
lefty,
in a series as a lefty, which that gives him an advantage. I think you really do have to be. Barrios is in a weird spot where I think he's a fantastic regular season pitcher to get you there, but he's going to win you a game. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm with you. It's concerning for him, but if I'm a fan, it concerns me that, you might kind of give this guy the short shrift. Like, he proved he was a gamer last time he played in a playoff game for the Blue Jays. He's got pretty good. I mean, he's only had limited playoff experience, but he's got decent numbers in his limited playoff experience. And I want to I don't think he should be ruled out of consideration here.
No, I agree with
this
that.
idea that Bieber is just a lock is crazy.
Or Scherzer, for
and
that
Scherzer
matter.
as well. He's a day-to-day guy at that age.
Yeah. Barrios got the ball opening day. He's got years left on his deal.
And he's a really, really, really good pitcher.
Yeah. In terms of, what the team has invested in him and what they've proven they believe in when it comes to him, the idea that he's on the outside looking in does, in some ways, feel far-fetched, but it's also glass half full. That's great. If Barrios is your number 4, you're in a phenomenal position.
And it's not like Shane Bieber is some playoff horse. The guy's played in 3 playoff games in his entire career. His first one, he got lit up by the Yankees in a very memorable way. So
that's when he won the Cy Young. I think
that was the year he won the Cy Young, coming off the Cy Young, and the Yankees just absolutely torched him. So, to me, it's wonderful to have this prospect that this former Cy Young winner might be able to pitch for you in big games. And yet, let's tamp that down a bit. I mean, Barrios has pitched for you in big games, and he's been among your most reliable guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dave, you're playing the role of the FedEx Cup. The FedEx Cup. I'm sure you've always dreamt of doing that.
Yes.
What is your level of concern? Rory McIlroy could end up winning this whole thing and then start skipping tournaments every year moving forward.
Play it.
I can't believe. Yeah, play it.
Play it.
I'm
You
jumping on you.
can never ask me to stop drinking.
Unreal.
It's concerning. I mean,
Yes, it
because
is.
you're basically they've set up the entire golf calendar to emphasize how important the playoffs are, right? We don't have a major past July or past August or in August.
Middle of July, it's over.
Used to be a major in August. There's not a major in August anymore. The British Open's the last major. They set it all up so that we're supposed to think this is important. And now you have the most famous player on the planet since Tiger saying it's actually not that important. I'm good.
I'll catch you at the BMW. And he didn't move. He's still second.
And the format has always been a problem for these guys, right? The coming up with a playoff format that makes sense, that gets people invested, that gets the players invested, has always been a problem. They've rejigged it a million times. They've rejigged it again this year. And guess what? They've rejigged it in a way where there are certain guys that don't need to show up to the opening 2 rounds, and they're still going to get to the Tour Championship, and they can win the thing because there's no handicap strokes involved this year, as opposed to the previous years. So, yeah. And now to hear Rory today say talking about all the important events still to come in the year, including the race to Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, is the
heavily
World
invested
Tours.
over there now.
He's really excited about the race to Dubai and winning his 7th race to Dubai. You know, that's a shot across the bow at the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
With whom Rory's got a complicated relationship.
Yeah. No, I think this is a nightmare for the tour. I could not believe he didn't show up last week. Like that seems like the immediate reaction to this is mandatory. You're there for every single one, or you're out.
Right.
Like it's very simple. Now I think McIlroy is saying, "Go ahead, try it, see what happens."
Oh yeah,
I dare you to do that because I'm Rory McIlroy, and you really, what are you going to put Chris Goddard in my position in terms of the marquee? Right? Chris Kirk is going to sell tickets. Do you know who you're messing with right now? But like this guy, he doesn't show up in Hawaii to start the year because of the race to Dubai. He starts over in Europe. I think he's in Dubai in January.
Yeah.
He misses Harbor Town. He didn't go to the Memorial this year.
Took the fine.
Told Jack Nicklaus, actually, I'm out.
Didn't even call him.
Didn't even call
Jack. Jack
and
made
now,
that known.
Memphis, the first leg of the playoff, he goes, "No, I'm good. I'll just catch you at the next one."
At the moment that the big dog stops prioritizing this, it gives number 2 and 3 and 4 that excuse. It gives me sitting at home an excuse to not care about it as much as I normally would have. If the big guy's not, why is anyone else?
For me, this is like we always talk, actions speak louder than words. Scotty Scheffler over at the Open Championship gave that famous kind of speech or diatribe, whatever you want to call it, about it's not fulfilling. I don't know. What is this about my life? This is way more of a shot at golf and what it means in the PGA Tour and what it means to Rory McIlroy than whatever Scheffler was going on about.
Oh, yeah.
Like Scheffler plays, Scheffler shows up. McIlroy's basically saying, once he got the green jacket, I'll let you know when I'm going to show up.
Like, let's not forget, Rory showed up to our tournament here.
It was
Canada
horrendous.
And said, basically, I'm having a hard time getting motivated since I won the green jacket, and then missed the cut by a mile.
He played so horribly those 2 days.
Yeah.
It was awful. The whole thing, the body language, it completely checked out.
So that's concerning. But I understand. On the other hand, guys, I understand it. Like, the guy's made all the money in the world, and he's playing for Rory. He had his moment of fighting for the tour against the Saudi invasion
and Greg Norman,
and he got burned for it. I think he feels he got burned for it. He got burned out, certainly, being the spokesman for what is good about golf and the right side of the battle between the PGA Tour and the Live Tour. And I think he's just past it now. He's saying, "I'm playing for Rory now. I'm not playing for the PGA Tour. I'm about me." Yeah,
it sounds that way. And no one even talks about the amalgamation of the two leagues anymore, or like any brokering of a deal. When was the last time we heard anything between Live and the PGA?
Oh, I think the
like it's just gone, basically.
It doesn't feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like it. All right, I'm playing the role of Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani, what is my level of concern that my squeaky clean image will not last forever? Play it.
You can never ask me to stop drinking.
So the interpreter and the gambling thing was wild.
Yep.
And it just got basically swept under the rug. It was like a couple of days. Baseball said nothing to see here, not his fault. Okay, move on. He hasn't missed a game, no issues, no evaluation, nothing.
Interpreter's in jail.
Interpreter's gone, took the fall. It's him. They have, video recording and audio recording of him, impersonating him, all that. And it's like, okay. Seems a little bit far-fetched that he had no idea what was going on, but all right, there's one strike. I'll give you that one. Fool me once, right? I'll give you that one. Now, this report, and again, I don't lose sleep over what like billionaires are doing with this exclusive property in Hawaii. It doesn't affect my life at all. I couldn't care less, really. But I find it interesting that Shohei, and the reporting on this is Ohtani and his agent. Of course, there's got to be another guy. Always is with Shohei. May have kind of did the big swinging, you know who I am type of routine here, and maybe bullied some people in or out of whatever this operation was going to look like. Again, they are entitled to their own defense. Very early in this process. This is white collar, the most white collar you can get of white collar crime. A $240 million real estate boondoggle in Hawaii. Again, it's not necessarily, we're not talking Pete Rose betting on Dodgers games here if you're Shohei, but there's just a lot of smoke following this guy. Like, this is the second strike where you're like, what's up with Ohtani? Like, so I think him being squeaky clean is something I'm sure he cherishes. I think he works hard at it. Again, his reputation it's been well documented. He literally says hello to the ump every time he gets up to the plate. Seems like a good guy, as big of a superstar in Japan as we've probably ever seen. I don't know, is he bigger than Ichiro? Probably. But I don't know, man. He's got a long way to go to get to the finish line to hold on to that image. So I'm going to Nick Cage it right now for Shohei.
It's concerning, man.
It's a wild scene with him.
You're just, it can't be a coincidence, can it?
Yeah, what's up with this guy?
He's been embroiled in 2 significant controversies with massive amounts of money involved and some real accusations of underhandedness attached to people very close to him.
Allegedly some shadiness going on.
And to your point, look, innocent to this is a lawsuit. This is
exactly.
Lawsuit.
He's not doing time or anything like that.
It's not a criminal charge, but I mean, you start to think about, is this guy completely clueless to the goings on around him? That's hard to believe because he's a brilliant athlete.
Right.
In my experience, brilliant athletes are not dumb people.
Right.
And he would have to be a fairly dumb person to have no idea that he was being defrauded for millions by not one, but 2 people.
Yeah,
you've got to keep that circle tight, man.
Yes.
And he doesn't need the money. If I was involved in scamming someone out of millions, sure, I could use it. But Ohtani,
what's he up
we
to?
know that. And
well, your book's on the bestseller list.
well, I mean, hey, speaking of millions, everybody.
Valid point.
But when we talk about the Ohtani level, like the more I'm around pro athletes, the more amazed and impressed I am by people who keep a tight circle and keep their name out of stuff. I used the Sidney Crosby example yesterday. I know that's lower level, lower money, but still, I've never heard a word about that guy that's not hockey. And when someone can go through their career like that and not be tied to something else, that impresses the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Because it's all this arm's length stuff. Is it him involved? Is it a friend of a friend and he's the big name that gets involved? You just can't let that happen. No matter if it's you or not, you can't let your name be the one that's attached to it.
Exactly. Your name is your name.
Mm-hmm.
As Marlowe once famously said in The Wire, my name is my name. All right, we'll come back and we'll squeeze in a couple of more role plays. Dallas Cowboy fans coming up. Austin Matthews coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Mark Schlereth in about 15 minutes. James Cook getting himself a contract down in Buffalo today. What is Schlereth's, projections of the Bills this year? Aaron Rodgers, is he fitting in down in Pittsburgh? Is it going to work in Pittsburgh? Shadur Sanders injured, not likely to play this weekend. Now, what happens with him? Catch up with Schlereth a little bit later on. All right, role play level of concern continued here. Keegan, you're playing the role of Dallas Cowboy fans. Ooh. What is your level of concern your team is going to miss the playoffs again this year?
Man, I think I'm Nick Cage on that one.
You can never ask me to stop drinking.
Because if you do, I don't think that the Micah Parsons thing will lead to a missed season, a long hold. These things work themselves out. Jerry Jones will overspend. But, man, when you look at the rest of that defense around him, pretty tough. I do think Dak Prescott's going to have a hell of a year. I think that adding George Pickens is going to be big for him. I think that CeeDee Lamb is almost underrated at this point. I think he's going to suck up 100-plus easy. But looking at, the running backs, you're trying to get something out of
run game.
Miles Sanders
None.
and Javonte Williams, Jadon Blue. Who's that going to be? So I think it's going to be a lot of the Cowboys losing 44-41. And Dak Prescott throws for 400 yards and 4 scores and is just standing there thinking, what the hell else do I have to do for this team? Because the guy that owns it upstairs has mismanaged it and overspent in places he could have spent a little less on.
Yeah.
And it's looking like a tough year, even in an NFC where there's some big avenues, man, but I don't see it.
Yeah, that division flips every year. Like every year there's someone else at the top. I just can't picture Philly not winning the NFC East. Like I can't picture them anything but a 12 or 13 win team.
They're the gold standard now.
Yeah.
They've usurped the Chiefs in a lot of ways, just in terms of the way they're run, the efficiency, the anti-Jerry way of doing business, where they get guys early, they take care of their problems, they take care of their business before they become problems, and obviously they're defending champions and all the rest of it. But yeah, like I'm maybe not as concerned. It's hard. You can't forget that this team won 12 games 3 years in a row before last season.
Yeah. They had a lot going for them.
Like to your point, Keegan, you're almost making the case that, I'm starting to believe they might have a decent bounce back year, because Dak is, whatever you want to say about Dak, like he
when he's healthy,
himself,
he's capable quarterback.
He's a capable quarterback and handles that whole circus better than any athlete maybe I've ever seen handle a circus. Like, he is, Maple Leafs could take notes about how to handle a big pressure market and playing in it, because he does a great job.
Yeah, he does it well.
And but yeah, they've got deficiencies like anybody else. But to your point, Hayes, if they can get Parsons back on the field, the plus minuses with him on the field, he is
pretty significant.
Hell of a talent who is a game changing defensive player, and there aren't many of those.
No, there isn't
in the NFL. And if they've got him, that's to me, a decent chance to stay in the fight for a decent, for a wild card spot.
Absolutely. We'll ask Mark Schlereth, does he think the Cowboys can or will make the playoffs? We'll get to that into the final hour. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Final hour OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Brian Hayes, Keegan Matheson, Dave Festruck. We'll get to our best bets later in the hour. Jays Cubs tonight. I don't even look at the weather app anymore. I just know it's 30 degrees sunny every single day.
Perfect.
Like I was going to say, feels like a roof open night. When has the roof been closed?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Just,
Big roof open season.
Yeah.
I like it. Good breeze rolling through, man. So I like to get there. I get there about 30 minutes early, not to do my job well, but just to dry off.
yeah, a little dry off.
Little towel down.
Yeah.
By the time everyone else walks in, I look like I'm in okay shape. But
I
it's
love
been
it.
a good
Hey,
summer.
they renoed the stadium. What have they done much to the press box?
We're in deep left field, out by the foul pole now on the 300 level.
Yeah.
Nice digs, different view. Do I know if it's a fastball or a curveball? Not always, but they take good care of us. Good digs out there. The old Argos press box, the old CFL press box.
Yes.
Where that used to be.
Yeah.
But, man, good view. Can't complain. I keep myself back in the corner away from everyone else.
I love it.
I don't play too well with others.
Yeah, that's where I was sitting for the bat flip
Yeah.
2015 because
Right.
there was so much media down there.
That was the auxiliary press box back then.
Yes, absolutely. So, like, when I got down there, I'm like, where are they going to have me? Like, I'm not an everyday press box guy. And I think Hedge was, like, behind. Hedge had a supreme seat.
The headliner.
Yeah, there was a headliner. I think Scotty Mack was there. I believe Scotty Mack was still doing stuff there. He was in a prime spot. He had his spot,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then I got up there. They're like, oh, yeah, you got to go way down there. I'm like, that's fine. No problem, man. And it was a beautiful sight being in that building. The three of us were in there. Noodles, and I were all in different spots.
You were all there that
Yeah, was in the seats. Noodles was in like a press box with like a rock star.
Of course.
Yeah, and I was out in left field. But it was a beautiful thing. Dome was closed.
That's one of the
Afternoon baseball.
one of the great moments in Toronto sports history. I mean,
Yeah, it really is.
It's nothing short of that.
No. Well, it's interesting. Like Joe from the Bridge, who runs the whole operation on our TV side, he's been putting up different, stats and everything as we talk during the show. The Jays are obviously 70 and 50, right? 70 wins through 120 games. I noticed no more referencing the 2015 or 2016 Blue Jays. Joe's going right to 92.
Wow.
Oh, baby.
Now we're going to 92, right? Because the 15 and 16 teams, well revered, love those guys, ALCS. But if we're going to start bringing in the early 90s teams, that is a completely different level of expectation.
People aren't celebrating semifinalists anymore. That's how you know Toronto's
Exactly.
getting a little big right now.
If we're starting to really feel ourselves as a sports town
different
and Blue Jay
feel.
fans are getting a little bit crazy here, I'm bypassing 15 and 16. What were we doing in 92?
Yes.
That's serious business.
That is serious.
I like that. Joe from the Bridge on top of it.
Yeah. Hey, man, well, you look at it like, the Cubs in town, they handled them easy yesterday. I saw Pedro Martinez, of all people, was tweeting out that he believes in the Blue Jays because of the way they've played against the good teams.
Right.
And you look at it, they're 38 and 29 against teams that are over 500, which is the third best record against teams over 500 in Major League Baseball. Behind, of course, the Brewers, who are better than
They won
everybody.
12 in a row,
everything,
Milwaukee.
and Seattle. So, how significant do you think that is, Keegan?
That's big time. They're playing good teams well, and we've seen them play some bad teams like a dud. It's going to happen. But I think they have one of the best records in baseball against those above 500 teams.
Yeah.
And that's how you know they're not fraudulent. And that's how you know their style of play holds up. And I agree with what Phillips was saying earlier, that we always talk about, man, you need to get a home run against a good pitcher. This is the type of lineup that's built to give a good pitcher fits. Because if you're facing Skubal or Max Fried, they're used to striking out everybody. Suddenly they're not. You've got them out of their comfort zone, and you go from there. But, man, it's legitimate. This is not just a team on a little miracle run that's fun and everyone's smiling. It's legitimate what they're doing. I didn't see it coming, but it's very real.
Yeah.
It's solid. It's
They've hit Fried well this year,
Yeah.
man. Like they've not had an issue running into Max Fried.
Yeah.
So
That's a good sign.
yeah, that is a good sign.
I mean, I thought Shapiro was, Mark Shapiro spoke to the media yesterday in a bit of a surprise availability, right, Keegan? And, it was interesting that, the way he was characterizing the team and talking about how, It hasn't been about the stars. It's been about the collective. It's been about all for one for all. And, and it's about identity, right? We've created an identity. And I think that's, it's kind of, you could call that corporate speak and executive talk and babble, and it's a rare moment where I think Mark Shapiro is actually saying something that's relatable, because I think there's some truth to it.
Yeah, we're watching. He was up in the 500 level yesterday with the
speaking of relatable.
Yeah, the Gate 14 guys. He's been on their pod before, and those guys big Blue Jay fans, and you don't really see that too often out of executives. I mean, listen, again, there's 7. Is he going up there if they're 50 and 70? I don't think so. I don't know if Mark's going to make his way up there.
He's a smart guy. He knows timing. 70 and 50. He was up there when Clement hit that home run. It was really cool. And listen, those are quote unquote the real fans. Right? Yes. You're up in the 500. I think the home run happens right here for the people watching the video.
He walks right up.
There he is.
Yeah, and there's Johnny and Avery, and those guys. Those are good guys, and they do a really good job with their pod. And Shapiro's been on with them before, and Mark's always been good to us. He's always come on. He'll come on. Ross will come on, and that was a pretty cool moment last night. I want to see it though in the future. If they're 50 and 70, you got to get up there.
Well, that's the thing.
You got to walk up there when that happens. But 70 and 50, you're cooking right now. Everyone's happy.
Oh, I'd be up there every day. I'd have a seat. I'd be drinking beers with the fans.
I want to see him walking around the stands every single night now.
I mean, there's I'm not conspiratorial, but he doesn't have a contract, and
he's playing to the crowd, playing to the people, man.
It's an interesting moment to be doing that.
The mob's got a lot of power in every town. All right, here he is, the host of the Stinkin' Truth podcast, Super Bowl winner. You see him on Fox all the time. Here's Mark Schlereth. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing very, very well. We were just talking about the Dallas Cowboys about 15 minutes ago, and we were throwing around the idea that they could return to the playoffs this year. I'm curious how you'd answer that. Do you think the Dallas Cowboys can and will be a playoff team?
Oh, yeah, I think they certainly can be a playoff team, and I would predict them probably, to be one of those teams that's fighting in for a wild card berth, and I would think they'd get in the playoffs, and then they'll do what they do all the time when they get in the playoffs, and that's take a dump in their helmets. But, they'll get there, but they'll soil themselves when they're there. And I was saying this on the Stinkin' Truth podcast just the other day. Make sure you check it out on YouTube if you get the opportunity. But the Dallas Cowboys are simply the Jacksonville Jaguars with better marketing. That's all they are. And so, they're the most valuable franchise in the National Football League. They have not won a divisional round playoff game since 1995. They are so well marketed, and they've got the star, and they're America's team, and they're the most valued franchise in the world. And yet we all know what'll happen. They will make a playoff push, and then, like I said, they'll take a big, giant, herkin dump in their helmets, and they'll be out watching it like you and I are watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would expect the same thing, man.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of helmets, by the way, hell of an image there, Mark. And there's been a lot of talk about helmets because Aaron Rodgers has had to change helmets. He said he'd been wearing the same brand of helmet for 20 years, but suddenly the one he was wearing last year is not legal anymore according to safety standards, and he's got to wear a new one that he says looks like a spaceship. I mean, in your playing career, how attached were you to your helmet, and how averse to change were you?
Yeah, I mean, it's what you're comfortable with, right? I mean, of course, in my time, the helmets didn't change. If you look at the helmet I wore in 1989 when I entered the league and the one I wore in 2000 when I exited the league, it's essentially exactly the same helmet. There were no technological advances because back then, the league ended up just telling us there were no such thing as concussions, and and that if you got, you were soft if you got a head injury. So it was a different time, to be sure, but there were no advancements in technology, and you grow accustomed to the gear that you wear, and so your helmet is one of those things where. I like my helmet, right? And interesting, man. I'm playing a game in Green Bay in December. It was colder than balls. And I broke my helmet in the middle of a drive. And one of the backups throws his helmet to me, from the sideline. And, of course, one of the things we always do, especially in cold weather, we've got those heated benches. On top of the heated benches, there's these little vent pipes. but they're designed to hang your helmet on. And you've probably seen it before. So you put your helmet on, then when you put your helmet back on to go out, it's nice and toasty warm.
Right.
And, it's pliable and it feels great. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. So I get a helmet thrown that the backup is just holding on to and been holding on to for, 3 quarters. And he throws it in, and it literally, 1, it was about 3 sizes too big. 2, it was like putting on an ice box, like an ice tray. I mean, it was miserable, and so I'm blopping around out there while they're trying to fix my helmet. So you really do have certain things you like, certain helmets you like, things that just feel like they fit you well. And, yeah, I'd have a tough time with that. I'd have a tough time changing my gear when I've grown accustomed to wearing one certain type of helmet. So those are real things. Those are, to me, that's a real thing for Aaron Rodgers.
Mark, I think Aaron Rodgers has always been a very particular guy. He either loves the helmet or hates it. He loves the receiver or hates it, loves the route or hates it. What do you think about this new match with him in Pittsburgh? I want to see how him and Mike Tomlin work together. I'd love to see them become that odd couple and really make it work. But do you think he still has any of that magic left from back in the day, or is this kind of the end of the decline here? What do you think with Aaron Rodgers?
Dude, at the end of last season, man, he was playing good really good football. And I call a game of his in December, so I'm there Jets in Jacksonville, and I sit down and talk with him probably 45 minutes, and he and I have been really good friends for a long time, and we've got this kind of avuncular relationship where I'll call him out on his BS, and he just kind of laughs, and he knows it comes from a place where I actually love the guy. I really do care for him. And he's phenomenal. He's one of the best quarterbacks I have ever witnessed play. And it was so interesting. So Sunday we have a little talk. He's on the field. He goes to warm up. And I'm watching him throw versus a bunch of 25-year-olds on the, on each team. Mac Jones was one of the guys out there. And it's legitimately night and day coming out of his hand compared to the other guys. I mean, you want to talk about spinning it effortlessly with just jumps out of his freaking hand, and it's on receivers right now. And it was palpable. It was so different watching the 25-year-olds throw the football and watching Aaron Rodgers at 40 throw the football. And I'm just like, dude, if this guy can stay healthy. And last year, it wasn't publicized, but he had a twisted ankle, a hamstring, a knee that was really bothering him early in the season. And, and then they had no running game. The Jets were just they're just a dysfunction. I was rooting through game balls I had the other day. I've just found a box of game balls cleaning out a closet. And one of them was for the Jets, a win against the Jets. And I just kind of chuckled to myself, nobody should get a game ball for beating the Jets. That's just standard operating procedure because they are that dysfunctional. So I'm really looking forward. I like Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator. I like the way he runs the football. And Aaron's big about, we need to run the ball well. We need to set up our play action, our run action, play action, our play pass. And none of that was a staple for us last year. So I'm me personally, if he's healthy, man, that dude can flat out play. So even at 41, I think it'll be a great fit.
Well, one of the teams and one of the quarterbacks that will get to face the Jets twice this year would, of course, be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills ended up signing James Cook. He gets a 4-year extension, about $30 million guaranteed. It's 16 touchdowns last year, rushing for over 1,000 yards. I have very high expectations for the Bills. They've won the division 5 years in a row. But do you see enough, year over year to allow you to envision a Super Bowl championship this year for the Bills?
Yeah, it really comes down to, can Josh Allen out-duel Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game? And it's more so the coaching. The coaching for the Buffalo Bills, they seem to pucker up when it's Patrick Mahomes and it's a playoff game. And so they're going to have to get over the hump, just like the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to do the same thing to get over the hump of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the thing about Patrick Mahomes, the guy's phenomenal. And if you give him the ball last, you lose. That's the way it works. So, you've got to be able to beat that guy and that franchise. And they have so much confidence in what they do right now. But I love the way the Buffalo Bills are built. It went from, what are we going to do? We're going to get rid of Stephon Diggs and we're going to get rid of some receivers. And And they didn't miss a beat, man. They got a really solid group up front. Their offensive line is really good. Josh, does a phenomenal job, not only from the pocket, but his ability to run the football. They became so much more balanced, and everybody was like, it was funny because I think Brandon Beane is their GM, and everybody was on him about, they don't have receivers. You got to go out and get a receiver. And personally, it's the most overrated position in football. And he said, no, you know what? We're going to go with balance. We're going to be fine. And you see the results. Now it's just about getting over the hump come that AFC Championship game, or when you play, whenever it is that you play the Kansas City Chiefs.
Speaking of the Chiefs, Mark, we were just having a conversation about Travis Kelce, who, of course, is the most famous NFL player, probably on account of the fact he dates the most famous person on the planet in Taylor Swift. And there's a big podcast coming out in 45 minutes with Taylor on with Jason and Travis Kelce. But when it comes to the actual act of playing football, Travis has kind of acknowledged in a recent interview with GQ that, he hasn't been up to his standard the last couple of years, maybe let the trappings of celebrity get the best of him at times. He's trying to get back to what he was before that, but he's age 35 now. How do you sort of handicap his chances of refining the magic and getting that Chiefs team over the hump in a Super Bowl again?
Yeah, well, his Super Bowl was an embarrassment, without question. But I still look at that and say, okay, so his Super Bowl was embarrassing. He still had something crazy like 98 catches. He still had close to 1,000 yards. The guy still is incredibly productive. And so I would sit there and I would tell you, Travis Kelce, he had 97 catches, 823, and 3 TDs. And I'll tell you, like, his blocking in the Super Bowl, he got his ass kicked. There was a couple of effort plays that were embarrassing for him. And I think that's really the reason. Like, if they win that game, I think he marches off in the sunset and is part of her roadie crew. But, like he came back because he did have that taste in his mouth. He didn't play well. Man, I had some of that film where I went out and I just laid an egg, where I went out and just got my ass kicked. And it's one of those things that's embarrassing. You're like, I hope that film gets burnt and is never seen again. But it's there forever. And so, he wants to be able to wash that taste out of his mouth. And, by all accounts, he's lost a lot of weight. He looks really good. I know he practices his butt off. I've talked to several of the coaches in there. They're like, we have to manage him because that dude is just full go. And, you look at the number of snaps he has based on the time he came in the league to any other tight end that's been in the league that amount of time. And he's got, it's over 1,000 more snaps than anybody, maybe more than that. So they've got to manage him well, but still, like that guy still runs routes like a quarterback. He and Mahomes have a connection like they went to Hogwarts together. They're incredible. And if he's in shape, man, and he's committed or recommitted to football, I think he'll have a real productive season, like a big-time productive season where he's close to 1,000 yards receiving, maybe 8-9 TDs and, another 90-plus catch season.
With Super Bowl champ, Fox analyst, Stinkin' Truth podcast host Mark Schlereth.
Mark, we were talking Shadur Sanders earlier, of course, constant conversation around the Cleveland Browns quarterback room, and I was listening to one of your last episodes of Stinkin' Truth. I loved your comments on Shadur, looking at that preseason game he had. Looks like he's going to miss the next one, but his first one. And I come at this with a fantasy football brain of I like the highlights, I like the stat line, cool. But you were speaking about something else, how he handled that pocket and how important that is. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, like one of the things I loved about him, now I was up at CU last spring. I was helping Dion out last spring. So I got to see it firsthand in practice. And one of the things, we get as scouts and the scouting departments, they don't know much about football, right? They're scouting measurables like the 40 times and arm strength and jumping over boxes and a bunch of stuff that truly doesn't matter. And when you really look at Shadur, his ability to layer the football, his ability to be on time, his ability to throw it accurately, those are the things that matter. And his ability to manipulate the pocket. I said this a million times when Tom Brady was playing. I go, that guy is the best scrambler in football, and he never moves out of the pocket. The guy just subtly slides from side to side, not looking at the rush, but feeling the rush, moving, buying himself another half a second, and then throwing an absolute money ball. And that's exactly what Shadur did. So all these scouts and all these professional guys who evaluated, talking about, well, he doesn't have elite level athleticism. So what? I don't care. And you don't need it at the quarterback position. Does he have elite level pocket presence? And the answer to that was yes. When you watched him, now, did he hold the ball too long at times? Absolutely. Why? Because he wanted to make big plays. I get that part of it. But I'm just telling you, accuracy, and I will say this too, you can't be accurate if you're not on time. And you have to be on time. So that comes down to how you set up your footwork and when you're ready to deliver the football. And if you're late with the ball, well, bad things are always going to happen to you. So I looked at those things, arm strength, arm talent. People will talk about, oh, man, he threw the ball 70 yards in the air. Who gives a crap? Ultimately, how many times are you going to be able to do that? You're 2 times a year when you throw a Hail Mary? Otherwise, a go route comes down between 47 and 52 yards. And a go route, by the way, is thrown off a 5-step drop because the receivers can outrun the quarterback's arm. So you don't ever throw it 70 yards in a game. That stuff is irrelevant to me. And I hear guys talk about that, and I'm just like, this is such a bunch of hooey. Mm-hmm. And, and we get all excited because a guy's got a big arm. You know who had a big arm? Anthony Richardson. How's he look so far in Indianapolis? Oh, he could run, though, right?
Yeah.
Man, he could jump over boxes, maybe the greatest athlete we've ever seen play. That dude ain't worth a squirt of piss. And ultimately, until you learn how to play quarterback, I just don't care about all the ancillary garbage that we end up evaluating that doesn't mean anything.
He is Mark Schlereth, the Stinkin' Truth Podcast. You can find it on YouTube. You can download it wherever you download your pods. You'll see him on the NFL on Fox. Always great catching up with you. Thank you, Mark.
You guys got it. Take care.
There he is, Mark Schlereth. Always colorful analysis with Mark. But, yeah, he's obviously a Shadur Sanders fan. I don't know if the Browns are.
That's
we'll
the
see.
question.
Is he going to make the team? Is he going to play?
Mel Kiper joined the bandwagon,
Yeah.
Start ranting and raving. But
Mel Kiper, man, putting his whole career on the line for Shadur.
Is he being set up to fail, as is a popular narrative down in the States right now? The idea that they've sort of sent him up here with this bizarre hierarchy of quarterbacks on which he ranks 4th somehow. I mean, it is a strange situation in Cleveland. And that's, even if you're rooting for the kid, which I think Mark Schlereth clearly is because he's worked with him and he knows Dion and he's got a relationship there and he just likes the kid's talent. I mean, even if you're rooting for him and you believe in his talent, do you believe in the Browns to bring out the best in him?
Well, that ultimately is at the bottom of this, that even if somehow he prevails here, makes the team, ends up getting starts, you're still the quarterback for the Browns.
Right.
That mixed with success is an oxymoron. It doesn't happen. It cannot happen. So at best, you get in, you get a chance to show yourself. They screw it up. You get out. You do what Baker Mayfield's doing.
Yes.
Right? Redeem yourself somewhere else. Jump around the league a little bit. Find a home. I love what Baker represents now. I love Baker Mayfield. I love his story. I love the way he plays. I love his whole approach. And he just had to get out of Cleveland.
Yeah, where he was basically called a bust, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the hope for everybody now.
Yeah.
Get out of your own personal Cleveland.
Get out
find
of
it
your own
somewhere
Cleveland.
else. And that's when you look, Sam Darnold's the other story, but Baker Mayfield's the ultimate one, man.
That's right.
When's the last time the Browns brought out the best in someone?
Well, and Darnold, who drafted him?
Yes.
The New York Jets.
Exactly.
There's the other team.
Same teams over and over.
It's always it's not a coincidence.
Go down through the Browns. I'm thinking Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden, who they drafted at age 75.
Remember
down
how stupid that was.
Baker Mayfield, these recent ones, and it's going to happen again because it's in the water. There.
That's right. Yeah, it is.
It's
Unfortunately, it's just the truth. I remember saying that after he got drafted. I'm like, okay, you waited 5 rounds, but the Browns took you.
Yeah.
I'd rather go in the 6th round to any other team.
And it's just such a strange
Yeah, once you miss the
circumstance.
big money.
Yeah, no,
and you've
thank
got
you.
the owner disavowing the pick, basically saying, I had nothing to do.
Yeah, it wasn't me, man.
That's on the GM.
Go talk to the GM.
Go
His
talk
call.
to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gong show.
I mean, for a guy who, was a 5th round pick, it's an incredibly interesting storyline.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of that, of course, is he's Dion's kid.
Yes.
And, what he did at Colorado, which is a non-conventional, it's not a powerhouse school by any means. But, and he's got talent. Like, clearly he's got talent. So let's see what happens. Best Bet's coming up later in the hour. Casey Candell, the Bison's manager, will join us. They lost earlier today. He saw Alec Manoah up close and personal. Trey Savage is going to start for them coming up later this week. What does he know about him? What kind of details can he give us on the projection for him the rest of the year? George Springer has been cleared. He's going to be playing for the Bisons tomorrow. So we'll catch up with the manager down in Buffalo. We'll do that next.
to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, best bets later in the hour on Jays Cubs tonight. Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Jays. And good news today, George Springer cleared. So he'll be back tomorrow down in Buffalo. He's going to have a rehab start. Probably, what do you think, a couple games down there in Buffalo?
Max, maybe 1, 2 at the most.
Yeah. He may big time and give. I'll take a couple hacks and then have the car ready.
Oh, yeah. Keep the car running.
Yes. Like, George may give it the old, I'm out of here after about 5 innings. And
you don't want to do 2 rounds of the veteran spread down there, too. You know, you've got to buy steak and lobster for all the fellas.
Yeah.
Couple ABs, get back up the road. And you know, you don't want to spend too many nights in Buffalo.
Well, that's another part.
You know, I'm sure his bed here is a little comfier. Big leaguers are accustomed to a certain life.
Yeah, as they should be. I mean, this guy's making a lot of money. He's made a lot of money. He got won a World Series MVP.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder what the play is when they go down to Buffalo. Like, I got to think, you know, like, obviously wings. Would you be surprised at all if some of the other guys in the Blue Jay clubhouse basically sent an order down with him? Like, if you're going down there, bring back
beef on weck.
Like,
if
yeah,
you had that. That's a Buffalo delicacy.
Oh, exactly. Bring back about 15 pounds of the best.
Yes.
Like, I don't think that would be uncalled for, right?
You want, like, car trunk beef on weck? I don't know. That's just outside of the food range. It's a long delivery.
Maybe not, but wings you could do.
Wings.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wings you could do for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Reheat them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Put those, yeah. Like, I would send an order down with George.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're going down there, you got to understand something. You're bringing back wings, and you're going to find the best possible place. Don't you think that's mandatory? I would
be
think
my wheelhouse. I would love that. I just don't know if George would like it.
Yeah.
George doesn't have an option. That's what I'm saying.
And I'll tell you what, when I was living down in Buffalo during those COVID stints down there, a month at a time and another month, I was staying at the Marriott next to the ballpark, where I think that, you know, a lot of folks use that. And the amount of delivery wings order.
Oh,
I might have averaged 1.1 a day. Like, I think I went over the 1 average.
Yeah, dude.
There wasn't much else to do.
Nonstop, man. No. Nonstop.
Yeah, like, do you want, like, and I wonder too, like, what's the duty tariff situation on being the wing mule?
Yeah, do you have to claim wings? I guess you got to claim wings on the way home.
How many dozen can you get over?
At what point do you, like, does the guy look at you and say, are you serious?
Like 100 pounds, like 10 pounds is okay, but 50 is
Vladdy gave me 1,000 cash, and he just said, as many wings as you can get.
I think you can tell the border officer, I'm George Springer.
That's
you need to get
thing.
lucky. If you're a fringe reliever, some of them get a bit of a hard time.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I'll bet you the manager of the Bisons can come and go whichever way he chooses.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to bring 100 pounds of wings across the border. He could do it. There he is, Buffalo Bison's manager. Here's Casey Candell. How you doing, Casey?
That is true, and I'm doing fine.
Well, if you ever do that, let us know, because we'll place an order, and if you can get them up here, that would be great.
No. Yeah, nope. I bring them over every day.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Well, what somehow got us into that conversation is that I guess George Springer's coming over the border, and George will be in your lineup tomorrow. And you know, you've had a lot of vets who have come down and rehabbed and, you know, made their way back up. But when you get a guy like George, who's won a World Series MVP, having a phenomenal season, is there excitement that comes with a guy like Springer kicking around your clubhouse tomorrow?
Oh, George is really boring. So it's like, you know, it's not that fun.
Yeah.
No, it is. George is great. He was actually working out with us in Worcester when we were there this last week, and he was just trying to get cleared to get back to start playing again. And it's always exciting to get, you know, a player of his magnitude, you know, with our players, just to be able to talk to him and kind of share kind of the things he's experienced, and they get a kick out of him being here, and just watching him play is always a pleasure.
Okay, so you've got a big stream of big leaguers, former big leaguers, rehabbers coming through this week. You had a pretty good view of Alek Manoah today. We saw the stat line, we saw the highlights, but what was your impression of that? Not just the performance, but how Alek felt about it, how the whole day went.
You know, it's just getting back into like competitive baseball. He's been out for a while, and and getting it on the mound at the AAA level is just kind of getting his feet wet again. I know that he wanted to throw better and wanted to throw longer, but it really was a situation of let's getting him out there and getting him to throw some pitches and getting him back into the groove. So that was accomplished. So I'm sure he'll be back to throw again, and I'm sure he'll get better each time.
Well, you're going to see Shane Bieber throw on Friday, Casey, and you've seen him throw before that, too. There's a ton of excitement in Toronto about what a former Cy Young winner could bring to this Blue Jays rotation. What have you seen from Bieber so far that would maybe add to that excitement?
It's just, basically with guys of his pedigree, that have a history of success and how long he's pitched. It was the same with Max when he was here. They go out and they know what they want to accomplish, and they throw the ball where they want, and they throw their pitches where they want, and so it's beautiful to watch, actually, and it's not, and you kind of watch it and you go, it's not surprising to see why he's had so much success. But he's getting back into it, and he's competitive. I think the last time he threw, and when he threw it for us in Worcester, he was supposed to throw, I think it was 75 pitches, and he was supposed to come out at 75, and he got to 75, and it didn't matter if the guy was hitting or not. He was supposed to come out, and I went to take him out, and he waved me off. So he was like he wanted to finish the hitter. And that was in a AAA game. So, having that kind of competitiveness in a AAA game and still wanting to finish the hitter when he knew he had thrown his allotted amount of pitches was, that's kind of a testament of the kind of attitude that those kind of guys have.
How does that conversation work afterwards with Ross Atkins when Ross is wondering why he didn't come out at 75? Do you just say Shane can go talk to him, or what?
Yeah, he said that and Shane said that's on me, and I said, yeah, you could cost me my job. but I'm not, if I'm starting to walk out to the mound and he's waving me off, and so I look at Pip was there, the medical guy that was there with Shane, and he was like, okay, let him go, and so he finished with 3 more pitches, and I think he punched the guy out, and that was it. So it was not a situation where we were going to let him throw 15 more pitches, but it was a couple more, and it is always that kind of decision you have to make is is it, we're going to let him do this or not? And I think, it was 2 or 3 pitches more, so it was okay. And he did say after, I'll take responsibility for it. I said, yeah, but I still could lose my job. So, let's not do that anymore.
No, let's stop right there. We appreciate you're still
right.
gainfully employed with Casey Candela, the manager of the Bisons.
Casey, one of the other big names you've got coming through on a big week coming up for the Bisons, Trey Savage. Number 1 prospect who there's a lot of talk about up in Toronto now that it feels like he's close, feels like he could be an option for this team down the stretch. What have you experienced with the guy so far, heard about him coming up from other folks in this system?
He's advanced for his age and for how long he's been in professional baseball. So that in and of itself is kind of a gauging point where you can see, this guy is obviously more mature in the game than other people his age. So that's a good sign. I think he's going to come up here. He's, obviously when they come up to AAA, guys that are coming from AA, they have to start using the Major League Baseball. So that is a little bit of adjustment period for most guys usually. But just talking to him and getting feedback on where he's coming from, he has a good idea of what he's trying to accomplish and kind of stays with his game plan and is, like I said, he's advanced as a pitcher for his age and for how much time he's spent in professional baseball. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I know everybody in Toronto is also. So we'll find out tomorrow. And of course, you don't judge it by one start or anything, but it's fun it's fun and exciting to get somebody that's coming in and they're thought of so highly.
Casey, you talk about the adjustment to the Major League ball. What is the biggest difference between the AAA ball and the Major League ball?
Well, now they use the Major League ball in AAA. So in AA, they're using a different ball.
Gotcha.
And it's basically the seams and the grip, and it's not bigger or anything like that. But the seams are not as raised as the balls in the lower levels of the minor leagues. It used to be where in AAA you still used a minor league baseball, which was a little different, and then you would have to adjust when you went to the big leagues. Now they're using Major League balls at the AAA level, so they get a chance to throw those balls before they go to the Major League. So it is an adjustment period, and some guys have some difficulty getting used to it. It takes maybe sometimes a couple outings or a couple starts just to get the feel for it. So it's just sometimes guys just take to it very well, but usually, the Major League ball, it takes a little bit more to get the spin on the ball and to get it moving like they do in the lower levels. So,
well, we appreciate the updates, and we wish you nothing but success, obviously, tomorrow and beyond
All
that.
right.
And we can't thank you enough for doing this. Thank you, Casey.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
You got it. Casey Candell, Buffalo Bison's manager. George Springer will be down there tomorrow. Trey Savage getting a start. You got Shane Bieber getting another start in a couple of days. And, because the staff is healthy in Toronto, you have a 5-man rotation that's going. They're not going to force feed Bieber anyway. If he's not ready, he's not ready. But you might allow him to just keep going down there. Like by September, you want him up here pitching, I would think. You got to give him 4 or 5 regular season games before the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
But it's August 13th. He doesn't have to be going right now.
Yeah, but if he's going to be 1, 2, 3 in your rotation, he's got to be well established.
So what's the number for you? 5 starts? Like how many does he have to have where you feel like he is caught up to speed and he's back in the major league lifestyle and rotation and?
Yeah, 5 starts 5 starts seems about right. I mean, I'd like a little more though if I could get him.
Sure. I just don't know if that's
How do you see it?
It's about what it'll be, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And frankly, if the Blue Jays had 3 starters and a couple of scrubs filling out the rotation, he might be making this start in the big leagues. Like he's close enough, frankly, at this point. And I was wondering if the Blue Jays would push him, just given that you're trading a legitimate big-name prospect to get, 5, 6, 7 of these starts, and you want that to be as high a number as possible. But I think as long as he gets through this one okay, and his last 2 rehab appearances have been identical. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, solid. As long as he looks okay, get him up here as fast as possible. Get him into that rotation, and the 6-man or hybrid 6-man, whatever we're going to call it, will take care of itself, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. We'll see when he gets up here. I'm looking forward to it, though. Like, there's going to be buzz with it, man. And, like, every day I've got different buddies going every game's got 3 or 4 people I seemingly know at. And, like, you wouldn't believe it last night. Unbelievable. The vibes down there. It's incredible. Like, there's a lot of positive energy right now around the Jays. And you bring Bieber up and you get him on a mound at the Dome in a Blue Jay uniform. Like, that's just going to push it forward that much more.
Big crowds. People who have never talked to me about the Blue Jays are talking to me about it.
Yeah.
And I get the message every night, we're here at the game. Do you want to grab a beer? And I say, you don't understand my job.
Not the way it works.
I do want to.
Yes.
But I can't.
Appreciate the offer, but can't happen. Maybe down the road.
It's becoming that destination again. It happened with the Raptors in 19, Jays 15 and 16.
Yeah.
Becomes a spot to be.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. Best Bets coming up, powered by FanDuel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm going to take a look at the BMW Championship here. Okay, my main man, Top 10 Tommy, did it again last week. He had it. Oh. Tommy Fleetwood, man. What's up with this guy? I love Tommy.
He will never win.
I'm fearful he will never win. And he blows that putt on 17, which would have got him into the playoff. Even if he was in it, I think Rose still beats him.
No doubt.
Yeah, Top 10 Tommy. Playing plus money on a top 10, though. I'll take top 10 Tommy.
That's killing me. I love it.
It's such a great handle.
It's great.
Top 10 Tommy finishes top 10. Plus 125. I'm on Fleetwood. Outrights, I'm going like Scheffler's plus 250 to win this tournament.
Man.
It's a smaller field, but it's the best players. McIlroy's in it. Schauffele's in it. These are great, great players. I'm not touching plus 250. Like, I love Scheffler, and the fact that he didn't win last weekend was borderline shocking. J.J. Spawn's playing great, 30-1. Sam Burns, 35-1, been a lot better. Keegan Bradley's been a winner here.
Yeah.
45-1. I'm on Keegan.
Okay.
So I like those as kind of long shot, make big money. Yes.
Okay.
Best
like
Bets
that.
powered by FanDuel. See, Roy McIlroy said that I guess he had been approached to player, captain, a Ryder Cup, and he shot it down, said can't do it, no way.
Trolling the U.S. guys again.
Yeah. Like, it's got to be a shot at Keegan Bradley, right?
He's too cool for a lot of stuff lately.
Yeah, he is.
Man.
But that's a shot because Roy's already said we're going to win in Bethpage, right? He said when they won in
Rome,
Europe,
right?
He said hardest thing to do in golf is win an away Ryder Cup, and that's what we're going to do in Bethpage.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to do the psychological game, saying that's crazy to try and play and captain. There's too many duties for the captain. That's going to be hard on Keegan.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, he said no chance.
Yeah. Is that gaslighting? I've always struggled with the definition, but I think it might be.
I don't really know.
I don't know. I think it might be.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Well, who knows?
It's mind games.
What's aggravating, I would think, if I'm Bradley, is like he's just right on the border of whether or not he should be on the team or not. You know, like based on merit, he's right there. He probably should be, but it's like he's in that awful gray zone where, like, if you put yourself on, it's like, oh, you put yourself on, huh? Interesting. But if you take yourself out, are you jamming up the team to be a hero because you don't want to put yourself on the team because you're technically on the bubble?
And you may believe you're more clutch than anybody on the bubble.
And he's
well
a raw kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know,
he gets
like
fired up.
I'd have Keegan Bradley on the team for sure, but I don't know how Keegan Bradley is going to handle putting Keegan Bradley on the team.
Well, that's what Roy's planting the seed, right?
That's why he's planting the seed. Gaslighting.
Love it.
Yeah. But there's McIlroy. I think he's still second in FedEx points.
Wow.
Didn't even play last week.
And the bottom line is the fact that we're talking about the Ryder Cup tells us we're not that excited about the FedEx playoffs, but we are excited about the Ryder Cup.
I am jacked for the Ryder Cup.
Same here.
Like, September is going to be brilliant. Get the Ryder Cup back, the NFL back. NHL camps open a little earlier this year because of the Olympic Games. Starts a little bit earlier. You got the Jays who are chasing down an AL East and chasing down a World Series effectively. Like, it's going to be bedlam in September.
Some incredible couch potential.
Yes.
September. Some long days.
Well, I saw, like, someone posted that weekend. It's a big college football weekend. So every weekend there's big games. But there's like 2 or 3 like monster games potentially that weekend of the Ryder Cup. And I'd have to look up what the there's a couple of marquee NFL games, clearly. I think one of them might be like Bills, whatever. You know, I'm not going to speculate because I'd have to go back and look at it. But it was one of those tweets where it was like, we have Ryder Cup all day, college football all day Saturday, NFL all Sunday. Like, it's just going to be brilliant. Can't beat it. Cannot beat it.
That's what's glowing in the distance for me after the baseball season. And I hope it takes a while so that everyone can be happy and enjoy their baseball. But there comes a Sunday where baseball's over.
Yes.
And I plant down on that couch at 12:55 p.m. Eastern time. My God. Maybe if I get a London game, a little 9:25 a.m. Eastern.
Yes.
In front of me, I have a sheet of paper with a lot of names and numbers written out.
I love it.
I've got an order cranked up. Life is good, man. It's out there.
Well, JP saying Chiefs-Ravens play that Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And the Packers-Cowboys is Sunday Night Football.
Oh, delicious.
Like, that's
incredible.
brilliant.
I got to make sure I don't peak too early that day.
Yes,
you know?
make sure
ease into it with some light ones.
Ease into it. And the Jays will be wrapping up their season. That's probably the last game of the year, I would think. Sunday, September 28th, something like that.
Fantastic. And I get a night game after it.
Yes. Right into the Packers-Cowboys.
Love it.
think is that at Lambeau? I think it might be under the lights, too. Sunday Night Football at Lambeau. You can't beat it. It's in Dallas. Yeah, they'll still win that game. Oh, yeah. Packers will find a way to win that game. All right, boys.
Will they? Okay. You believe in the Packers this year?
I do, presuming health. Yeah. Like, I really do. This Matthew Golden kid, they're saying, is going to be a superstar wideout.
Yeah.
Young, asking a lot out of him, but, like, they've been the youngest team in the league the last 2 years. LaFleur's a really good regular season coach. He's got to get it going come playoff time, but I like them this year. I really do. I think the Packers have a real chance of doing some damage in the NFC.
I'm buying all the Jordan Love stock this year, too, and I'm biased.
Stay healthy. Got to stay healthy.
It's not going to be a Josh Jacobs team again, you know?
That's right.
A healthy Jordan Love is going to sling it.
And
I think Matt LaFleur wants to sling it around. And Matthew Golden, I was a hater into the draft. I said anyone but.
But now they got him.
But I've come around. It's
now
called
you're a
growth.
fan.
I'm trying to come around on some things I was hard about.
I love it. Good stuff. All right, boys, great seeing you guys. Thanks for doing this as always. Keegan Matheson, Dave Festruck. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. Every hour of every show up on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll chat then.